breaks out this adorable little smile. It is absolutely too funny.
It's true, but still, Leon is trying to help from the back line as much as he possibly can, or he's playing vertically. Aces is trying to work in the same aspect, and they can't really do the jobs they're meant to do as effectively if it isn't for guys like Cryan and Rips showing up on game day.
Okay, gentlemen, I want to direct your attention to the screens. We are moving into the map ban phase here. Jesse, why don't you start us off? What are you thinking?
Well, we start with an easy one. I think the Villa ban makes loads of sense for Rogue. They've only played it twice in the entire year, and it's one that Space Station love to play, so that makes loads of sense. Then we get an Oregon ban. I don't think that's too bad for Space Station. I think there might have been some stronger options. I'm a little shocked that that they let Cafe through the pool. Doesn't even get picked, though, so maybe Rogue aren't feeling the same. It's going to be a Coastline pick instead.
Wow. The screams.
Wow. All right. Coastline pick coming in from Rogue. It's not an amazing ban or map for them. They do tend to ban Coastline pretty often. They're reading in a Space Station here, though. SSG are on a 5-game losing streak on Coastline. So clearly they've been looking at that, and that streak dates all the way back to the last Six Invitational. So clearly there's been some research on the side of Rogue. And then Clubhouse pick coming in from SSG makes loads of sense. It honestly feels like Dubhouse is back on the menu for SSG. They've picked it twice in group so far. They beat FaZe Clan 8-6 and Cyclops 7-1.
It's one of those cases where that Cafe ban as well very much seems like it's something SSG simply don't want to give to Rogue. They know how potent they can be on it. I believe they even beat Team 1 on the back of the Sweden Major. They just simply do not want to hand it to them. So that means, for our decider, I honestly don't really know how it swings once we get down to that point. It's the best map for SSG that we are not seeing in this entire series. It's just something that they decided, you know what, Rogue are good at it too, so we don't want to worry about it ourselves.
Bank has never been played by Space Station.
You're not wrong. This is literally the first time, if we need 3 maps, we will ever see them play that map.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your excellent analysis, as always, but our teams are ready to go. Will SSG take off, or will Rogue take it? Des and Ace, we hand it over to you.
We are 3 for 3 on intros from Jackie. Hello, boys and girls, once again, and welcome to the final game, not just of the day, but of the entire group stage. It has been a real long one for us, Tim. It's been a wonderful week, 5 days of fantastic Siege. Today has been, what, a 14-hour day?
Yeah, I mean, I love the group stages. I love keeping an eye on everything going on everywhere. Everything has its place. But when you get to the end of it, you got to understand it. Yeah, you're ready for a sleep. You're ready for a sleep, especially when the last day is 14 hours and it's 9 p.m. when you get into the last game.
So Tim has come up with a fantastic idea, and in true Des fashion, I've decided to double down on what he said. We are going to cast this game like it's a grand final. And it's the grand final of group stage, so it's kind of fitting. So, Tim, in 3 seconds, we're going to do an intro as if this were a grand final. You ready?
Yep.
I'll go for a full reset. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the group stage grand final live here at the Six Invitational 2022. After a week of battling in which neither team could possibly get knocked out, SSG and Rogue find themselves here in said grand final where they are playing for the grand prize of a spot in our playoffs, of which they've already qualified for, but we'll put that to one side. It's going to be a screamer of a series. It's me, Des, it's Tim here, and what an honour it is to have this grand final, Tim.
It's going to be a lot of fun, this one, Des. I think
that was a bit low. Come on. Yeah.
I think we might have officially lost it, to be fair. We're going to be heading into Coastline. It's SSG versus Rogue. What are the stakes here? What are we playing for? Well, Rogue, they are playing for that upper bracket spot. And let's not forget that with that comes extra lives. It could be a big, big, important outcome for these teams. 3 points, 4 points for FaZe, 3 points for Rogue, 5 points for SSG. Still all very, very tight in there. A very, very close matchup, and they are going to be going for this one. The easiest answer for Rogue, if they want that top spot, is a full 3-point win. Simple as that. There are other things that could happen depending on the results, but I'm going to keep it simple. 3 points for Rogue sees them in the upper bracket.
What we're going to do quite simply here, right? We'll talk about the stakes of this game. We'll ignore what's going on in the other stream until it's concluded, because it will finish at some point during this map. It will be overdone and dusted. So, here, if Rogue 2-0, they jump over SSG. If they don't get 2-0, then they won't jump over SSG. It is literally that simple. We'll update you on exactly what else that means once we've seen the conclusion of what's going on the A stream. But here, we'll kick things off. SSG versus Rogue. Ban phase is done. Finka, Mozzie, probably the two bans you look at there and go, oh, little bit spicy. We know exactly how much SSG likes to be around those. So two big bans here that could have quite a notable impact. This is a map pick coming through from Rogue. They want to get down and dirty, want to get a little bit fraggy with each other and bring some heat into the server, whereas SSG stepping into Clubhouse, Dubhouse after this one. We'll see how well they fare against Rogue on their own map pick to kick things off. Kitchen and Service going to be the first site of choice. And looking across them selections there, Tim, I'm looking towards Vigil, Malusi, Oryx, potentially even the Wamai, and just seeing SSG wanting to get out in the site and get busy. I draw back to a very, very good game back at the Major 3 months ago, where we had Furia against SSG on this exact map. I fell in love with Coastline. I didn't fall in Coastline, you know, okay. They haven't really got good health and safety standards there.
A few people are going to fall in Coastline, I think, over the next hour.
It's just one of those that you look at and just think it's not particularly well protected on health and safety, is it? Look at that, like, cart in the corner with the, I don't know, the barrels next
barrels
to it.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's just dangerous.
It's a trip hazard, that.
It is, yeah. Well, I fell in love with Coastline again, was what I was going to say. Not that I particularly had much love for it in the first place, but that was such a banging game. It was 8-7 to Fury in the end, I believe. It really was a game of two halves, and I hope we get the same between these two teams.
I think we are. I think we're going to see a little bit of a war. For me, Rogue needs to come out with a good performance here on Coastline. Taking SSG to Clubhouse is never going to be an easy task. It's called Dubhouse for them for a reason, and they will be very, very keen to close it out in two, I would have no doubt. It's probably the latest start that I think any of the teams have had to a final game, so they're going to be looking to get this one done, get themselves off to bed, and then they can enjoy that day off tomorrow. I'm sure
that's your internal monologue
that come with it, but
that's your internal monologue being like, please. I mean, it may well come down to it. Let's give an eye on Prano as well, because he's playing on the Buck. No sledge in sight, which means those nades aren't available. This probably is more coming down to the expectation of they'll be starting on Hookah and Billiards or Penthouse, and they want to do some damage from below. But quite a versatile operator. The Buck can be used for attacking downwards or attacking upwards. Just tends to be a little better at attacking upwards, as no one else can really fulfill that role. Ace is here trying to get rid of some utility sat inside a service, and will do so quite successfully. The shield in front of Sky is gone, and he's holding one of the sweatiest pixel angles I think I've ever seen.
I don't think they come much tighter than that one does. Just down the side of the bomb chassis onto service doors. Guys is going to have to turn his attention towards the kitchen window for the time being. Hot and cold on the upstairs. Just looking to hold them out of main door, but it's going to be Fultz who beats him to it. Getting that opener onto Ace. On the Zafir, I presume Ace has just moved away from service door and was looking to get himself into the map. Now then, hot and cold. I tell you what, SSG are just looking aggressive to begin with here. They're looking for the jump outs. They're looking for the peaks. They're just looking to get themselves in the mix. Crying's thinking about going in through this window, but Skies is definitely aware of his presence there. He's going to actually smoke that out just to slow things down, because there's a potential push from service door as well, but he's got plenty of backup at the minute as Skies. We've got Rampy just waiting on that door from Sunrise through into the kitchen, and that could be a very long angle on towards the service door.
Good. Sky still tucked in quietly here, just waiting for a swing to come in from either side. It's either going to be the kitchen window or it's going to be service entrance. The other three members of SSG, two of them scattered up on the top floor. You've got Fultz playing outside towards courtyard, and a great swing comes in from Skies. Finds the headshot. Prano getting hot and cold in response before Crying frags back. Skies makes it a double. He is holding down. He is the king of kitchen. Refuses to be moved out, and Prano's left in a 1 versus 3. It's looking dominant for SSG in round one, Tim.
Fultz has done a great job for the North American side here in round one, just completely commanding main lobby, and we know that it's a super important spot on Coastline. It really prevents the push from that side of the map over towards kitchen and service, so it just means that the players inside a site, they can focus on service entrance, they can focus on kitchen window. They don't need to worry about the bathroom push, and Fultz has really made that a reality for them. Prano, super low health here. He's got about 3 hit points left, and he's trying to just work with what he can here, see if he can get a little pixel onto somebody, but with 15 seconds left to go, it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to do anything here. I think the time is probably better used just having a chat with the team, what's gone wrong there, shoot this bush, you know, just see the round out.
And just look at the bullet spray, you know, just remind yourself of what that looks like on the skeleton key in case you ever really needed to know that. A cozy first round. Skies, for me, the MVP of the round. We could do that, Tim. We could give an award each round to the MVP of the round. And then we can do like a little award ceremony at the end.
Personally, I'd go with Fultz on that one.
You go with Fultz? Why Fultz? Come on, let's discuss. We are the judges here, quite literally. Why Fultz?
As I said, I think Fultz had a big round in behind main lobby. He played in behind that reception desk. He got the opener onto Aces. Then he shut another one down towards the end of the round. And he just made it very, very difficult for Rogue to get themselves inside of the map there. Every time they tried, they came up against Fultz. And he just held them back. And that facilitated Skies to do what he did inside of service.
To a level, Skies was being pressured by 2 people outside service entrance. Had Cryan sat on the kitchen window. And I thought, look, you are basically in a 1 versus 3. You've got 1 outside kitchen hallway, you've got 2 playing upstairs, you've got 1 down inside the lobby. He's on his own inside there. Any grenades that come singing in, you could see him flicking between the kitchen window, between service entrance, and still found 2 kills without going down. Big round for Skies himself in the round on the smoke, so let's call it a tie and give him a gold medal each. How's that sound?
Why not? Everybody gets a medal.
Everybody's a winner in Tim's world.
You know I'd love that, Des.
I'm sure you would. You're the kind of person I hate, I hope you know that. I love you really, Tim.
Of course you do.
We had a big cuddle before we came down for this game, didn't we?
It was needed.
It was needed. Alrighty, let's look at round number 2. Looking here towards the Jaeger and the Wamai, so big time utility catch. Going to be needed in the round, given there are 4 frags on the side of Rogue. In the current meta, that feels quite light, or not really light. It's kind of middle of the park, right? Some teams bring 6. We saw 8 get brought along a couple of times yesterday. 2 tends to be too little to clear out all of the utility that you need, unless you've got a Zofia on side. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also looking in towards the Mute Jammers and the Vigil. You know, given what we know of SSG and their tried and tested, almost trademark setup coming through on a map like Clubhouse, we know how much they love playing around the intel denial game. And here they're looking to catch Rogue out with that. And to be fair, already doing a brilliant job. They've chewed through 3 drones already. As a reminder, you only have 9 in the top right corner of the screen. 3 on the field, 3 in back pocket. Twitch's 2 drones do not count towards that total, but her 1 normal one does. So when Twitch is in the lineup, you only have 9 rather than the normal 10.
Bosco just playing underneath, Nitro in hand. He's not going to catch anybody out just yet. He could get himself a couple of drones, but that will not be what he's looking for from that Nitro. Rogue have made quick progress inside of VIP here. They've dipped back out for the time being. Bosco, I don't know whether he's got a little bit of information just being fed into him or not. He's playing it into a common area. It's going to be too far away. Leon does take some damage, but he's on that concrete floor inside a Hall of Fame, which is going to keep him safe for the time being at least. But what it does tell me is that SSG are well aware of exactly where this push is coming from. Hot and cold on the Vigil, going to try and keep himself mobile, wants to just try and make some sort of impact onto that push, but it's not easy here on Coastline to get yourself upstairs to make a challenge, especially when there's a Nomad on the board. I would expect the top of White Stairs to have been air jabbed off, so Hot and Cold has no choice but to rotate up Cool Vibes, and it kind of takes him out of the fight a little bit. He's not going to be able to hit them on the flank.
Well, you got Bosco and Rampy potentially looking for a big flank here, both working their way through security together underneath where Rogue are currently getting set up. There's an air jab on these stairs, so we've got to be quite careful about things, and between the 2 of them could get quite a lot done. Not forgetting that Bosco will be sat here with the shotgun in hand, daring someone to come pushing on a tight corner, whereas Rampy, walking around with that carbine, can do a little bit more range damage. Cryan, daring someone to step out for the swing here, but again, they're not 100% sure as to what's going on either. Like ships in the night, passing each other silently, at least for now, but you know that's not going to be long until that gets explosive, Tim.
Absolutely not. Rogue are starting to push forward here. They're taking ground inch by inch. They've got themselves established inside Aquarium. They're looking at potentially pushing out of VIP as well, which they have indeed done. Got themselves into the corridor. Here it comes. Des 4 are pushing forward. Skies gets one with the shotgun. Folks, they're finding a brick wall, but somehow Rogue managed to smash it to pieces. 2v2 as Bosco comes back into sight, and that is going to be ripped down as well. We're effectively in a 1v1 now. It's Prano versus Rampy. Prano has case in hand. 18 seconds left to go. Rampy, he sees the legs, he knows he's going for the pickup, I think. There's the attempt, and there's the response. Rampy able to shut the man down as the buck opens the wall for him, gives him the line of sight. That's going to be SSG taking round 2.
Sky's giving it large already. I'm here for it. These boys have been ready to play for a couple of hours, so you know full well they're here to give it full bottle as the last game of group stage is really starting to heat up. You know, Prano's that kind of cool, calm, collected player that in a 1 versus 1 you expect to come out on top. But Rampy, just a little bit better this time around. 2-0 to SSG. And we go into the less common site, should we say. Penthouse and Theatre, it's growing in popularity for sure. We're seeing a number of setups come through as well. Castle really enabling this site to be played well. Some teams in Europe have taken to basically opening up every soft wall you can see and play on 90 behind a shield. You stack ADSs there. You have magnets, for example. Looking towards what they've got here, they'll probably have some kind of opening up into VIP as well to challenge onto Rogue when they get control of it. And it's that change to VIP that has made this a more viable site to play. The double wall up towards the north can now be reinforced. Thank you very much, Cyan, our observer for this game. And if you have a Kai, for example, you can electrify it off. They don't have that here in this round, but they can comfortably still contest in towards VIP. Again, assuming they want to play in 90, they may just choose to play elsewhere instead and use this more of a funnel to get back to site later in the round.
Going to be a rotation opened from VIP out into the corridor on either side of the room. We've got one into the elbow and one down at the far side near Hook.
And the third?
Well, now, the rotation that you see over on the right-hand side of the wall as we look at it gives a long line of sight in from Theatre as well. So there's challenges that can be made all the way through into VIP. It's going to make it very difficult to Rogue to get themselves established and remain safe in there. We've got punch holes all the way across from Penthouse. It's almost turned into Swiss cheese, this site does.
Yep, it's like I say, you basically open up the vast majority of soft walls and can contest it from inside of 90 corridor. Rather than having a shield on 90 to play behind, though, they're keeping it quite fluid. And again, I clock that they barricaded off all three windows facing into courtyard, the two inside of luggage, meaning someone can play there very comfortably, and the one also in the VIP hallway. So really, anyone getting on roof will be looking for a kill. They're not going to have much luck at finding any, given everything has been closed off. It does mean that SSG can basically treat this top four like one massive donut, though. Just keep on running around in circles, keep on making good use of the cover provided by the laser gates, by the castle barricades. Lots that Rogue need to work their way through. However, as we were speaking about earlier on between Dan1 Kia and Na'Vi, sometimes just go straight to site. Forehead, forget about clearing the entire top floor, just look towards the prize and get that diffuser down.
Got a man on double window, one on roof as well, and one working underneath. So Rogue spreading themselves out here, not really looking to push towards VIP. What a beautiful one-tap from Leon there. Just manages to find the head of Fultz, and a little bit of respect shown in the chat as well. The nice shot coming out from Fultz. It was an absolute beauty from the F2, and that is going to be a good opener for Rogue. Puts them 5-4, but we're almost halfway through, sorry, just over halfway through the round. They need to start thinking about getting those boots into sight. Sky's still holding down the tight angle. He knows that the push is coming. He's completely smoked out. He's trying to find an alternative angle, but that's just allowed Rogue to start moving into sight. But here's where the peak holes come into play. They are absolutely everywhere, and there is an angle to be found from almost anywhere on this top floor.
Absolutely. If Aces swings in here, he might be able to do some damage. In fact, it's Crying with a nade coming in. Rampy falling off the board. I was going to say, a limited number of C4s on side. Skies with one in the back pocket. It's the only one they've got. And I thought we might see that come swinging out towards Bathroom, but they didn't hear the diffuser going down, and therefore didn't bother. Playing on these longer ranges. Hot and Cold finds one, immediately traded out by Crying. A 4v2, make it a 4 versus 1. Rogue have finally found a way into the game, and Bosco's got it all to do. We'll find one back the other way, but the diffuser is going down.
A lot of work for Bosco here. Sees one man, can't take the shot. Diffuser will be confirmed. And now he's got to start trying to work back in when they know exactly where he is. Look at that. There's one on the double wall just waiting for him to peek. This one heading onto the upside down rappel. It will be Crying ultimately that finds Bosco and shuts it down. Rogue, they wake up and they find round number 3.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Slowed things down a little bit. Got that entry kill coming in onto Fultz with Leon finding him on the window. Tried to bait it out, I think, with the smokes as well, because there's always the fear that, okay, a drop's going to happen. They're going to make a move. They're going to do something when you see the smokes, but not quite for Rogue. It was more just a ruse, a distraction. So you could say 2-1 as SSG now find themselves losing that first round on the map. We've finished the first quarter, and we'll go back through the same site rotation once again, starting out in kitchen and service. Last time round, you gave Fultz the MVP. I was a Skies fanboy for just a few seconds. Held down kitchen incredibly well. I feel if they unseat Skies by getting vertical control, he can't swing and find one on the window to his west, one out towards service entrance. Rogue can have a bit more pressure on site that way, so I'd hope at least in this round we'll see a bit more coming in from, say, Prano, potentially from the Sledge of Crying, the nades that will come out of Aces as well. They've got a lot of tools to make you move to.
Certainly do. We're going to have the kitchen set up once again. SSG were able to defend this successfully back in round 1. They're going to try to hold on to it again. They actually had a decent defensive rotation there. We expect a bit of success for the attackers on Coastline. SSG being able to lock down 2 sites would potentially leave them looking at a 4-2 half if they can do the same again. It will all depend on that 3rd site potentially. But for now, they're going to try Kitchen. They were very solid here last time around. Rogue struggled to get into the building. They struggled to make any real progress towards the objective. They were sort of tentatively poking at service door, kitchen window, but they just couldn't really get themselves established inside. Hot and Cold was never really dealt with out on the roam. Fultz locked down the main lobby, and they just didn't really understand him, but it just seems to have gone by the wayside as Leon's got himself inside a Sunrise very quickly, and he's going to shut down the Oryx of Rampy, who I think, to be honest, was probably a little bit surprised that he was there.
That was kind of I get to one side of the door, oh crap, there's a guy there, turn around, try and bail, but gets caught up in the gunfight that he simply can't win. A good start for Rogue, and maybe a little bit overconfident by Rampy there, assuming that Rogue wouldn't be inside the building already. So once again, a 5 versus 4, just like in the last round. It's far from round ending. It is a Roamer that you've cleared off after all, but does give Rogue a bit more space to play with.
Hot and Cold going to hold that vertical angle down into Sunrise for the time being. It is a very skinny one. It's difficult sometimes to catch people as they move around underneath. We've got the nades raining in to try and soften things up on site. Skies is just going to relocate that shield and give himself an alternative angle to watch onto the kitchen window instead. A little bit more protection, especially from that Sunrise door as well, now that the call will have come that Leon's moving in that way.
Low drones coming in for Rogue as well, so they're going to have to start making moves with the information they've got very shortly, or just going for it and hoping they can win out the gunfights. Hot and Cold still inside a lobby. No attempt from Rogue to take control of that side of things. They've got Sunrise, they've got Aces on service, and that is all they feel they need to make this push happen.
Hot and Cold finds himself in the bathroom looking through to service. Sees his man but can't quite find him. Prano is going to find him on the return though. Sends him a message and takes him down. There goes Aces. And it's going to be 5 versus 2 now. And this one's going quickly in the direction of Rogue as they try to level things up. Prano's getting the diffuser down as Leon manages to find Fultz. It's all up to Bosco. Where have we said that before? This time it's a flawless round for Rogue. And they level things up 2-2. And we have definitely got a matchup here on Coastline.
Beautiful. Much better from Rogue as well. It took a couple of rounds to warm into things, shake off the rust of the last couple of hours to then really get things moving along. And yes, you might look at both rounds and say the entry kill coming in was a little bit cheeky. The headshot from Leon through onto Fultz, for example, on Penthouse and Theatre, and Rampy just being caught completely unawares in that round. But what matters most is when they actually get moving, Rogue make things happen. A couple of times they've gone low on drones, but they feel they have enough information to make the plays and get the win. And so far, it's rewarded them 2 rounds in a row.
We're going to be heading into round 5 then. I think it's going to be a kitchen defense again, potentially coming out from SSG here. We'll just wait until we actually load in. Looks like we've got a timeout at the moment.
Yep.
We'll be just trying to break down exactly what's gone wrong in the last couple of rounds. SSG, we can see there's a lot of talking going on. Try and get that improvement. As we say, the big prize here, particularly for Rogue, is going to be looking towards getting into that upper bracket. They need a 2-map win to guarantee it. It's not going to be easy for them. SSG, we've already seen quite capable of making a game out of this. They had a really strong first 2 rounds, but Rogue, they've woke up, they've come into it. We see this quite often, whereby teams come in and they just don't wake up for the first couple of rounds. It just takes them that to find their feet, they get a couple of kills, and on they go. And Rogue, one thing I will say for them, they've been playing, and obviously, you know, we saw the interview with Leon beforehand, and they've spoken about the work they do with Bernadette and as a performance coach. They play with a lot of smiles, a lot of laughing. They always try to keep that energy up. It's something that they're very, very conscious of, I think.
Yeah, and you spoke about kind of taking time to warm into it. We said as much about Damwon Kia throughout this week, right? Sometimes they come into a map, it'll be 3-4-0, and you'd be like, oh God, are they finally being defeated? It's not always an instant switch on thing, and again, they've been sat around for a couple of hours waiting for the last series to finish, for them to sit down and get underway with this one. And now it's here. you should start seeing a different team as we continue forwards. Hopefully, though, for SSG, this timeout starts to award something to them. We find ourselves going back in then to round number 5. And there's a pick I haven't seen in a good long while, Tim. It's going to be the Rook coming out for hot and cold.
A good old Rook. So if anybody's not seen Rook before, we've got quite a few new viewers knocking about. What does Rook do? Well, he's got some armor plates. He's going to pop them down. They're almost like little t-shirts there. And everyone's going to run in and grab one. And
bulletproof t-shirts.
But for a headshot, it's going to guarantee that you go down but not out. So it
gives you 20 HP now, doesn't it?
It's 20 HP, yes. So it just it's giving you that extra little bit of juice.
You can bullet sponge a bit more.
Exactly.
Juggernaut, for those back in the day that may remember. He's sponging. Used to hear that scream many a time in a certain lobby. It's one of those. They can soak bullets all day long. Admittedly, 20 HP, not an absolute ton. In some gunfights, it will be one more bullet. In other cases, none at all. Especially if it's a headshot.
Exactly that. The headshot will still be lethal in one. We've got a little bit more awareness this time from Bosco over on the Sunrise side. Leon able last time to move in there very, very quickly and get himself the opener onto Rampy. I'm sure that SSG aren't going to get caught out like that again. They're going to be very much awake at the beginning of this round this time around. Not going to want to go a man down quite so quickly.
Absolutely. Just a bit of caution on their side. I mean, Rampy's on a Maestro, right? He's not quite going to be the guy that's charging around a map and going mental. And it feels overall in the competition, outside of maybe faults on the Ella, that they are wanting to play this one just a little bit more passively, not get themselves out into so much of the map. It started well for them, but clearly started to wear out after a couple of rounds. And I do like how Lycan has stepped in and called the timeout early on. Some teams let this be an issue all the way through the game, and when you've got one round left until you lose, then you call the timeout and try to course correct, by which time it's too late. Better to make the micro adjustments early that get you on the right course later into the game than to try and course correct when you're already heading for face first into a crash.
One Man Magnet's going to grab out the first nade that goes in, doing a good job of keeping that shield intact and also keeping Skies safe, but not keeping Volt safe as Ryan gets in and gets himself an opener. Still a couple of those Rook armor plates left over as well. Always a frustration as a Rook player shouting, who's not got their armor? Well, there's two people on the side of SSG that are lacking that additional HP, and it could come back to bite them. Hot and Cold looking to get himself a little peek out onto the main lobby there. This could be good. Oh, it's agony for him as just a couple of pixels short. The man will not step far enough back. Rips, maybe not quite knowing just how lucky he is.
Lucky enough to not be losing his life. Steps in straight into one of the Ella Grishmot mines. Of course, isn't going to find himself shot out as Hot and Cold was holding a very narrow angle above. In fact, he's really unlucky because they bolted straight over the bar and just about avoided him. Leon, once again, going to find an entry. I believe that's 3 rounds in a row now that Leon has picked up the entry, 2 of them onto Rampy as well. Won the Oryx, won this round. And look at that, Tim. In the space of 10 seconds, it's gone from a 5v5 all the way down to a 5 versus 1.
This is getting cheeky in the chat there. Thank you for the Rook armor. He's gone inside a sight and picked one of those 2 that were left up, Des, and it closes out a flawless round as there's nothing more to be done for SSG. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of why Rogue wanted a game on Coastline.
And how much Prano really wants it as well. Giving a bit of lip back after Skies went off in round 2. It's a much slower start, or much slower mid-game, I guess you could call it, for SSG. Rogue looking very good, and even after a timeout, they're still slamming their way through SSG. The one thing I will give, I know that Coastline, I think it was Dev who was rifling through the numbers upstairs. I think Coastline is currently like the second most attacker-sided leaning map. Bank, interestingly, is the most attacker-leaning map, which for me was quite surprising. But that's where we find ourselves. If Rogue can get themselves to 4 and 2, then at least it's sticking with the stats. For SSG, they'll be probably ruining a little bit. They didn't get more done in this half because the last 3 rounds, they have basically been non-existent.
Up to the top floor we go then. Hooker it will be. We saw this defended back in round 2. SSG were able to lock it down. It was the last defensive round that they won. It came down to a 1v1 at the end. I mean 1v2 technically, but one of the Rogue players was down. Prano didn't really have an opportunity to resuscitate his teammate, and I think it was Rampy who was able to finish it off from the hallway just outside of VIP door. But this time, Rogue, they're going to be looking to stretch it that little bit further. They're not going to be looking for that 1v1. They're going to be looking to put another round on the board. 3-2 now. They've managed to get themselves 2 on the attack. 3 rounds in a row as well. Seeming kind of unstoppable at the minute. As you say, Leon, 6 kills. 3 of them on entry.
Yep.
Going very, very well for them.
Crying at 7 and 2 as well. It's just good seeing different members get the names on the board as well. You know, you look at this team lately and I think all the conversation is around Aces and around Prano. Even though Prano sat as the IGL and the support player, I guarantee you he has been very happy to be playing a lot of Book on this map so far. Gives him a chance to get a little bit fraggy, see what he can find. Here at least, Hot and Cold going to be the point of ingress where they're going to have to face him down. He finds Aces quickly combing him over with the Alder and drops away down to Office. No one downstairs and no one on Blue Window means he'll get away with murder there.
Big loss for Rogue there, taking that opening death, but Hot and Cold does take an awful lot of damage along the way. I think they were maybe hoping for a trade as a worst case scenario, but he's able to just drop himself away down the hatch and get himself out of danger. Now then, Prano looking to move into the space that Aces wanted to create to try and get himself inside of Aquarium. SSG holding this massively from downstairs. We've got Skies on Cool Vibe and we've got the Maestro has moved himself back upstairs into sight now, but that was 2 downstairs out of the 4 remaining. It's now just Rampy that's down there. And that's not going to give them an option for any sort of explosive denial, given that he's on the Jaeger and he doesn't have any, but I'm sure they've got a plan in place for him to be able to impact this somehow.
Yeah, Prano was trying to get the wall opened up from afar as well, but just couldn't. Someone still sat behind the bar who can very easily remove those X-Kairos off. Probably to be expected. It's normally why you have someone go up on the roof and get some of those X-Kairos down onto the quad wall, which by the looks of it is where Prano is moving his way up to now. Wants to start getting an angle in to force the man out from behind the bar, and we've just heard them go off in our ears there, straight onto that wall. We should be able to move them away. Currently jammed in, and now being shot off from downstairs. Prano going to be lamenting that because he's only got 2 left on side. Bosco finding another, crying, making it 8 in the game as down goes Rampy. It's still a numbers disadvantage for Rogue overall though, Tim. 3 versus 4. It's looking a bit dicey than other rounds up previously until Cryan steps up and does that. 9 kills in 6 rounds. What a start for the man.
Cryan's absolutely flying at the minute. We know he's got the ability, and it's great to see it getting flexed here in the server, really finding one after another. Bosco's had a big round, to be fair. Not only did he keep part of that quad wall closed, but he also got himself a kill as well from main lobby. So, well played from him, but Rogue, they're now in control of the downstairs. Going to try and just nade out that spot behind bar to see if he can find his man, but Fultz is going to keep himself safe right over in the northeast corner of that room. There's the big nade though, almost does its job, and Fultz is now down to a tickle from death. Prano looking to move in and get the angle onto him. He might just have an opportunity here. He's very aware of the man on bars, but as Skies goes down, he's going to aggress in. He sees him, but he can't get the kill. It's all up to Fultz. 1v2, 8 seconds left to go. Can he hold on? No. I was just going to say, Rogue don't have the diffuser in hand, so there was potentially an opportunity for Fultz to just get out of there, but he wouldn't have known that. And as he moves in to make some sort of challenge, he gets shut down, and Rogue, they take the first half 4-2.
Prano was everywhere in that round as well, starting out on the Aqua balcony wall, trying to get the single wall between sites opened up, couldn't achieve that. Goes to the roof, tries to open up the courtyard, can't do that. So then gets inside the building, comes pushing in from penthouse theatre side, I believe, up through 90, straight down through VIP hallway, and unfortunately doesn't win out his ones, but keeping himself very busy in a supportive role, not just being the one who's resigned to sat on drones for the team, is making sure they're always looking to move forward. Whether or not that's a good thing is up for debate, I guess, in that sense, because they might have needed someone on drone to get them in, but that's where others can weigh in as and when they take critical areas of the map. We now get the side switch, and Rogue going onto the defensive side has started out with a very interesting pick for Prano. It's going to be the Capcan stepping in, Tim.
It is indeed, and it's always an interesting operator to watch out for. You can stack multiple of those multiple of those explosive devices on each door frame if he wishes, or he can put one on each of 5 doors. 2 will be enough to be lethal, but what it does mean is it slows down those pushers coming in, because obviously you've got to drone that little bit more carefully. As soon as you know there's a Capcan, you've got to try and recognise where those traps are. Moving through any door, you've got to maintain your focus and make sure that you're checking the door frames, both sides now, as it used to be that you could only put 1 per door frame, but now it's multiple, as many as you like. And it's just about trying to catch people out, especially in those late round situations. We see the Capcans being particularly troublesome, where players are having to start rushing towards the end of things.
Yes. Although these days, the entries it's being used for here, as you say, could be pretty lethal if SSG try and match the pace that Rogue had on their entry into the building. This time around it's Leon who's currently sat on site, so not a smoke player that you'd normally be used to seeing, as we saw from Skies back in the first half. Instead, it's going to be an Oryx. Does have those alarms to go off as soon as someone comes charging through. Not quite sure what he was aiming for there. The shelf, he just decided right then he had a bit of beef with that shelf and he needed to show it what's for. But with those alarms, the beepers as we call them, they're there above the windows, above the doorway to enable him to turn around and put his fire wherever they may be stepping in. So, although it's not quite smoke canisters to do the denial, it's still a decent gun and still has gadgets to help him with that purpose.
Still 5v5. We haven't got that entry kill yet. Leon's gone a little bit quiet the last couple of rounds in those terms. It's going to be Aces this time to find it onto Fultz, and Rogue get themselves off to a great start here on the defense. SSG really starting to feel like they're floundering a little bit here. Taking a good couple of first rounds, they really haven't been able to find any joy thereafter. Rampy, however, will take Aces down. It only takes a flick of a pixel to pop behind those double window barricades, and he's going to take his man down 4v4 halfway through the round.
Well, they'll often say don't re-peek. Once you've got a spawn peek or something of that nature, they'll be watching windows like hawks, and Rampy was just ready for Aces to come up to double window and go for seconds. Couldn't quite find them, unfortunately taken out. 4 for 4 then, as we sit with 1 minute and 20 left on the clock. Right, Lion rings out one more time. It's Bosco with one more charge on side, and they've still got a frag to make use of here, a couple of flashes in back pocket. They've got the tools to make the push work, but I think they're most fearful here about the roamers and the damage that players like Rips playing on that vigil can do to them later in the round.
Prano on the roaming Capcan thinks that there's maybe somebody inside a hooker, but there isn't at the minute. They've dipped out of there, and they're looking more towards kitchen window at the minute, looking to just try and get anything going to get inside a site SSG here, but it just seems to be a little bit of a struggle, holding angles, just hoping to catch defenders out. Rampy knows there's somebody out ahead of him, but I don't think he's going to get any joy. Bosco manages to get onto the side door, and he's looking to pressure through to main lobby. But right now, Rogue, they're happy to hold their positions and just stay put. Leon's going to be full white flashed. He's going to be naded as well. That's not going to be a happy ending for Leon. Prano manages to find Rampy 3v3, but Skies is getting the diffuser down. If he can stick this is a big play. SSG just inside of the kitchen window. Get it completed. And this is not going to be an easy retake now for Rogue. They're going to need a run out of some sort more than likely, because they've got players outside of that kitchen window that are just going to sit there and wait for the sounds. Prano's going round to that pool entrance window, but I'd be very surprised if there isn't somebody sat watching it.
If he gets up to the window inside of Paul, I was going to say that could be massive for them, but I think they know there's also someone above. I want to say it was Hot and Cold who pulled back up here earlier on, and they want to get in contested. Bosco taking the firefight and bringing Prano down. Here comes challenger number 2 behind the DJ booth. Hot and Cold is spinning up some heat. Down go 2, and finally, the SSG getting themselves back on the board. 4-3 to Rogue.
Better round from SSG on the attack. They're able to get themselves one on the board. And that is what they needed to just slow things down, because it was starting to run away from them a little bit. Rogue had a good few rounds in a row. I think they were up to 4 in a row to take them to 4-2. And SSG were just getting beaten up a little bit. But as soon as they get onto the attack, it becomes theirs. Managed to get that 3-4. And that takes us into round number 8.
Alrighty. Penthouse Theatre, we step into the next one then, Tim. We saw this coming out in the first half from SSG. I think you quoted it. It was like Swiss cheese. Why do we always say Swiss cheese?
Because it's full of holes.
Is it always specifically 4?
What?
Is it full of holes? It said 4 holes.
Full of holes. They don't manufacture Swiss cheese to have specifically 4 holes.
Even Siano said he heard 4 as well. You're losing the plot.
I'm not losing the plot. It's my accent. It gets thicker as I get tired, so...
What did you say, sorry?
I'm not repeating. I will try and make sure that I pronounce my words properly. It's
full of and 4 sound really similar, apparently.
It's full of holes.
Yes, it is full of holes. But why Swiss cheese specifically? Why does that have to be the one with holes in? Why not French cheese?
Well, I don't know. It's
German cheese.
The make of cheese that's full of holes.
Spanish cheese.
Well, they aren't real cheeses, you see, Des.
Aren't they?
No.
I guarantee there's somewhere in Spain, like a little local village that's got something called Spanish cheese.
Okay.
It won't be called Spanish cheese, it'll be whatever it will be called in Spanish, but it will be Spanish cheese.
Espanol.
That's what's cheese in Spanish.
Oh.
Oh, we could do French.
You're testing me now.
Français fromage.
There you go.
There you go. We can get away with that.
Jeez, we've done it. We've got there. We've got there.
That is what a year of being in France for EUL has taught us how to say French cheese. What a world and a time we live in. Let's look at how this round is playing out. That's enough crap talk for the last minute and a half or so. We have got the Kaidon side in this round. Tim, we spoke about it back in the first half. You can electrify off that VIP wall and make it a bit of a nuisance for teams to get it open. I remember Kayak when G2, when he used to get outside the door inside a Hall of Fame, chuck it up to the kind of weird, like, what are they, like Ripley kind of curtains that are sat above that wall and chuck it outside the map.
Exactly that. It's like
it's a Ripley
canopy. No, it's like a canopy.
No, I looked at the brand name. It's Ripley curtain, yeah.
It's just a canopy that's been brought back in, and it's hanging down, and you can get some really nice placements in there. I think it's one of them that it's probably had its day in pro play now, because they just know that it's there. You'll get away with it in ranked, give it a go, but inside of pro play, they just know to check there and they deal with it.
You ain't got to invite me more than once to try something in ranked, Tim. I'll give it a good go. The mirror being shot out here on 90 because it was looking in towards VIP. They've got the Twitch on side. I keep on speaking about my love and admiration for Twitch and just how much he can get done in a round. Sky's here getting rid of that mirror window is going to make life a little bit tougher for Rips, who now has to expose himself to try and challenge onto the breach that has been opened up by the Maverick. So not bad as a start by SSG. If they get this VIP control, they can look towards Hall of Fame, they can drop the hatch, they can play the window, all the wonderful things that Rogue did on their attack earlier on.
This is just trying to see if he can get himself a peek out towards kitchen window, just try and relieve a bit of the pressure from the push. For the time being, he's going to continue looking underneath to see if he can get any opener ramp. He's going to take a little bit of damage there. Red ping's come out, and that is just going to signal exactly where one of those operators is, but it's just not accessible to the Rogue players. Here comes a challenge, though. Rampy's going to come head-to-head with Crying. He's got Aces in support. They can't find the man, and Rampy's dipped his way self back to Courtyard, but ultimately Crying does check the angle, does find the kill, and that's going to be the opener for Rogue here. They're looking to get themselves that advantage back. They want it back up to 2 rounds, but the upside-down rappel is going to find Crying in return. Rips manages to find Bosco, and we're now in a 4 versus 3.
I really saw a world where he was going to chuck that straight. Did he? Did it die somewhere? I didn't see, but Leon gets one back. A 4v2, a 4v1. Rogue is jumping through it. I did have the fear when he threw it through the mirror window, it hit the electrified wall, and indeed it did. Got fried. As the same way Leon's has just been fried by Hot and Cold before Rips tears Hot and Cold asunder, takes the round for Rogue.
There we go. That is going to be Rogue going 5-3 now and heading towards victory on Coastline. The problem that SSG have got, when they go into map 2, obviously it's their map choice, it's Clubhouse, we expect them to do well there, absolutely, but they're going to be going in against a Rogue team that I'm certain will know that if they get the full 3 points, it pushes them towards that upper bracket. So they are going to be against it at that point. As soon as Rogue get this first map on Coastline, it gives them a sniff. It gives them a taste of that upper bracket. And they're really going to be fighting for it then. They're going to go tooth and nail after that second map. So I think we're in for a hell of a competition on Clubhouse if Rogue win this, especially in the fashion that they're winning it at the minute. 5-3, they're starting to really stretch the legs a little bit. Just get a little bit of space in between these two teams. And SSG, they could be on for a tough second map. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going through to the playoffs, but it could impact the position at the final stages of the table.
I haven't got the stats to hand, but I know that Rogue did used to play Clubhouse a good time ago as well. Like, I can think of the number of times I've seen Aces swing on a mute out of the CC breach, just trying to hit someone on the spawn very early in the round. It was ridiculous. He loves that kind of swinging play, so much so that it's evidence that they like playing on the map, that they've got this thing they always seem to do time and time again. Can they beat SSG, the pioneers of the real creatively imaginally named SSG Rome? Time remains to be told. We'll see when it happens, when it comes into it. For now, we've got to get through Coastline. Potentially only 2 rounds remaining, but given how SSG have been playing on wager, there's still a couple more to come onto their side just yet. Aces once again looking for trouble, this time looking outside of Aqua, hoping someone might show their face, but right now no one is there, so he will dart back away, down towards White Stairs, down towards Leon, who's holding inside of the lobby.
We've got what looks like the Wamai of Crying down in service once again. Got himself the opening kill from there last time onto Rampy, who he found inside a courtyard. He's going to get pressured very quickly from both sides if he's not careful. There's one stacking up towards window. There's one stacking up towards service entrance. Crying looks like he's going to play his life out here. He wants to hold on to this. The drone comes in, not sure if it sees him. The flashbang gets eaten up and Crying manages to escape towards that main lobby. SSG possibly could have opened that up just to cut him off, but they've decided not to, and all the pressure maintains back over on the north side.
It does. He becomes the Twitch drone, sweeping around as it so often does, looking for any would-be gadgets or indeed players that might be tucked in. I'm pretty sure they haven't spotted the man inside the lobby here. Oh, that was unfortunate. They shot out the Iana Gemini with the shock drone. Not quite the best bit of team coordination, clearly just all too hungry to get rid of that default cam. Now Fault steps in, still being droned in and Crying. As we mentioned, quietly tucked in, not spotted by the shock drone, could strike a lot of damage. If they step out into this corridor too freely, he'll be finding himself a freebie.
That's it. I'm just not sure that they're aware of his presence there. I think he might have been misdrawn a little bit. And as you say, he could well come back to bite them if he's able to move through kitchen. Rips is going to hold them off from the bottom of Cool Vibe stairs and then take up a position above. Try to hold on to those verticals. Bosco, nearly catches his man inside of service. Takes a little pot shot through the soft wall. I think he's aware. They must have picked Crying up at this point because Bosco is paying close attention now to that bathroom door.
That's just a sixth sense to think as a player. You know, if someone's making a move and challenging you, there's a good chance you're about to get swung by someone else to try and either play for a trade or just to have you distracted. I don't think they still know where Crying is. It was more to say we expect it to come through. At this point, Crying has still not moved his feet. It's been a solid, minute and a half now since he's moved as Leon finds the opener onto Hot and Cold. No trigger for Crying to move yet, but keep an eye on him because when he does start moving, he could well spell absolute disaster for the side of SSG. I say that, finally gets himself droned out.
Stood right on top of it for a moment or two, but as you say, he's just going to keep himself behind reception. But the thing is, Des, if they don't deal with him, he's still going to be able to walk in behind them. Most attention now from SSG coming in from the pool entrance, looking to get onto the default plant spot. Bosco does find Rips and finds, it's Rampy actually finding Leon. Aces is a little bit in no man's land here in the corridor, just trying to get himself around, his vision being obscured. He's going to burst through the wall as the Oryx to find himself some sort of escape. Rogue trying to hold on, but Skies is able to get that plant down successfully, and we find ourselves now 2 versus 3 with Rogue on the retake, trying to push towards pool door, reset the Aruni laser gate, which they will do, but there's one still in there, Prano. It's Skies who pops out and gets the kill, and it's all down to Crying. The last man finds the first. Can he find 2 more? He's going to have to do it quickly. He's got about 18 seconds if he wants the time left to deactivate the diffuser. He's going to start the process. He's just baiting it out at the minute. Is he going to come off? He's trying. No, he comes off and goes to find the kill. I weren't sure if he was going to stick that for a second. Didn't have time. Fultz finds the last, and that is going to be SSG keeping it close. 5-4.
I think Fultz definitely would have found him there no matter if he had stuck it or not, but it did come down to about that 1.5 second mark where you start sweating a little bit, but good time to get in. I mentioned it could have been 2 more rounds and would have seen Rogue going through this one 7-3, but SSG now fighting their way back in with a good execute inside of Sunrise. Hookah Billiards, we move back up to the 2nd floor. And I think with the way it's been so back and forth between the two, Tim, it's hard to call which way this map goes, to be completely honest.
It really is. SSG are absolutely capable of taking this. I still think, given that it's Rogue's pick, I think they'll probably get this done. They've got 2 more rounds to find. They're back up to Hooker and Billiards. And I've just got a feeling that once they get onto map point, maybe SSG, we just see the fight drop off a little bit. I could be wrong. We haven't seen Hooker out of Rogue so far, so again, SSG going a little bit into the unknown here. We've seen a full rotation. SSG doing pretty good on the attack. Rogue, I think they might have just saved their best site to last.
Maybe so. I've also just had an update that FaZe have won over in their series against Cyclops, so that's kind of to be expected. Instead of the 2 points that they were looking for here. Now, what that actually does to the standings is a question I'm going to have to ask myself and dive into our DMs, so I'll scroll past the pictures of us putting together in bed.
It puts FaZe on to 6 points. So FaZe goes on to 6 points. So that puts them 1 ahead of Space Station. So currently, FaZe sit in 2nd, Space Station 3rd, Rogue 4th.
So Rogue cannot catch FaZe. So FaZe definitely finish in 2nd.
due to FaZe beating Rogue.
Yes, so this is now the battle for third place.
Yes.
Which is a big deal, because third place, let's not forget, goes to the upper bracket. You get a second life. Fourth place, they go straight down into the lower bracket.
That's it. Spacestation can still overtake FaZe. They can go back into second place, depending on the result of the game. But for now, Rogue, they are going to be eyeing up that third spot, and it is going to require a victory here against SSG. So Leon, he's going to be trying to hold down Sunrise for the time being. This is a defensive hooker, trying to just hold down and prevent that vertical play coming in. We've seen this more and more over this week, Des, with the number of nade kills that are being achieved from underneath. Quite often, it used to be you'd have your player down there with a nitro, you know, they were looking for that explosive kill themselves. Now, it's get a good gun down there and just try and prevent anybody playing underneath.
Still go back to the old idea I've had for an operator for ages, which is being able to lay out like a mat on the floor that's like bulletproof, nade-proof, whatever you want to call it. Give you a safe spot, protect from the nades below. Feels like it would do great in this meta. Did you see, by the way, they released the little teaser for the next season earlier on the account?
So on the Twitter, yeah.
Some Japanese writing. I'm like, okay, what's coming?
Starting to ramp up now. Very exciting.
Oh, you know me, mate. If it's Japanese, I'm dead excited already.
Yeah, I just get very excited about the season reveals. I really do look forward to them.
And then you got the year reveal the next day. In fact, it's worth stating for those of you at home that are wondering, on Saturday, next week, of course, we have the season reveal. So you'll see Year 7, Season 1. The next day, we have the full Year 7 reveal. So 2 panels for you to feast your eyes on, and a whole lot of esports, where you might see plays like this, featuring Rampy, bringing down Leon as the entry kill. The Jaeger off the board, hardly the most pivotal member to find removed from the board. Once his gadgetry has already been placed, his value drops off massively like an anchor into the sea. The other members on the team, maybe less so the Malusi or the Mute, but definitely looking in towards the Wamai and the Legion who have got rechargeable gadgets. Those are the ones, ideally, you want alive for longer.
Prono just roaming his way back into sight. He's going to find his toes taken off, though, as the kill comes in from Bosco up on the rooftop. SSG are definitely looking to level things up 5-5 here. It's 2 versus 5 inside of the round. It's all up to Rips and Aces to try and turn this one around. Hot and Cold's going to go in, start getting that diffuser down, and the objective play is something that SSG have done so well so far on the defense. Somehow, Rips manages to find his shot on a fadeaway, and all of a sudden, Des, this starts looking possible. 25 seconds left to go. Fultz finds Rips. It's all up to Aces, and it seems to be slipping away from Rogue despite that little bit, that glimmer of hope that they had. He's moving around. He knows the diffuser's down. He's just trying to make himself as difficult to hit as possible, but Bosco, he still finds his man, and that's SSG leveling things up 5-5.
Got balls of steel to go stepping across an open wall like that, knowing there's one on Cool Vibes and one outside of Hookah, but Aces goes for it. Can't quite win the 1v1 down into Aqua, and it brings us dead even, as you say, Tim. We thought it might be a bit of a war between these two teams, especially as the last game of the group stage, and that's exactly what we're being delivered. Rogue making use of their tactical timeout to have a conversation about what they can do in these next couple of rounds to end it 7-5.
Rogue have only won one site so far defensively, and that was Penthouse back in round number 8. They've been unsuccessful and they've tried everywhere else, so it's not going too well for Rogue on the defense at the minute. And the thing is, as much as I said, if Rogue can get Coastline here, you start thinking maybe they can do that, getting onto Clubhouse, knowing that the prize is in sight at the end of it. But look at it on the flip side. If SSG can come back here from 4-2 down, take it on the attacking half, get Coastline in the bag, and then head to their home turf on Clubhouse, that is going to be a mountain and a half for Rogue to overclimb. Overclimb? That's not a word.
I love this.
Overturn and climb.
These late night casts are something else. They're brilliant.
Trying to keep the energy up. Just trying to keep the energy up.
I think we're doing all right so far, mate. What would you rate it out of 10?
I don't know. That's not really for me to rate.
It is.
We're going to be getting back in.
Self-assessment. It's good for you. Good for the soul.
Self-assessment's not good.
I'll rate you, Tim. You're a 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Des. You're too kind.
Now kiss.
No. Coming into round 11, we're going to be going to kitchen and service by the looks of things. SSG have already won the attack on this site back in round 7. Rogue were unable. It was their first attempt to hold on to a site defensively, and SSG turned them inside and out. Sky's got in through the kitchen window, got a plant down just inside of there. Leon got naded out inside a site. It was a little bit of a nightmare.
Absolutely. It's all about what I spoke about in the first half as well, with the smoke doing a lot of the hard yards. They haven't got one here. So, with that in mind, there's obviously no Skies to go swinging back and forth because Rogue are the ones playing inside a kitchen. Last time round, I believe it was, I forget who it was this time round, but I know it was an Oryx doing it, just playing inside around Kitchen. We mentioned about in fact, it was Leon playing with the wee woos that are going to sit above. I tell you what, that is definitely coming from playing rank with Fresh too much. So he goes, oh, you got the wee woos, mate. I'm just like, please. What else does he say? Mozzie. Oh, you're picking the Moz, Des. That's the one he says. Moz.
All based on the sounds that they make.
The wee woos.
Wee woos. The proximity alarm.
Such a complicated call out, isn't it?
Much more so than prox alarm.
What other funny ones has he got? I can't think of any more.
Imagine.
Well, we'll see either way. Looking in towards the Catcan again as well, because that featured last time. It was Prano bringing it, so there's a bit of a change around as to who's playing on what in the team. But in terms of where they've been positioned out and about, we spoke about it already. You can catch people if they're trying to be a little bit too keen on the entry, which is why SSG will likely take things a little bit slow here. Get the drone work done, find out what needs to happen next, and not get yourself caught out by some Catcan traps too early on.
Leon's just going to be inside his sight on the Maestro. He's going to be trying to hold things down. It wasn't the Maestro that he played last time around. That's going to be a little bit of a mix-up. We've got a few new operators creeping in here. We've got Aces on the Alibi, which we've seen previously. Great gun. The Storm able to roam around as well, using, of course, those decoys that he puts out. They will ping out if shot or moved through. So a little bit of an intel operator as well. Put them inside the windows, make it difficult for people to hop in without announcing their presence. Prano going to have a little challenge up into theatre there. Doesn't quite find his man. Does take a chip of damage in either direction, but it's all falling apart. There's Bosco and Fultz managed to get two. Aces shuts down Rampy. It's 4v3, and SSG once again getting themselves an advantage. Aces tries to push. He tries to do something, but he just gets hammered as he steps foot into the Hall of Fame. They know he's there. They're going to chase him down because he's been hit. He's hurt, and he's only got a fraction of health left. Prano has come to the rescue. He's trying to help his buddy out. He manages to get Bosco. Can he get himself another? He sees the man, he pre-fires the corner, not going to find the shots. Out goes the impact nade just to get him back to safety. But here come SSG again.
Bloody hell, a trade there coming in between Hot and Cold and Prano as well. But Hot and Cold has done the damage. Aces gone, Prano gone, Leon the only one left standing. And Maestro, not quite the stealthiest of operators in the world, finds himself in a 1v2. SSG have got time. They've got Skies running around on his drone here to try and find out exactly where Leon is. And once he's been identified, that is where the hard work begins. They've got to then go and chase him down and win out a 1 versus 2. And that Alder can be a nightmare, especially when Fultz is only sat on about 35 HP. A couple of bullets and he's donezo.
Leon, last man left inside his sight. He's got the gun to do it. We know that. He's on the Alder. But SSG, they've got a decent amount of time here. 25 seconds left to go. 2v1. They can have a little drone, find exactly where he is. They must be confident at this point. Leon.
Okay.
Looked like he was just going to stretch his legs there, runs towards the door and gets cut down by the man who's waiting. That's going to be another SSG round. It puts them on map point and it gives them the opportunity to take Coastline away from Rogue and guarantee themselves a point in that all-important battle for the upper bracket.
It's kind of weird as well because they had the Evil Eyes position where they could see what was going on. You likely heard them whirring around behind your head. No, that wasn't a bug of any kind in case you missed the update recently where Bulletproofs, for example, can now move around and fire an EMP blast. Evil Eyes and Yokai drones can be used when or from or by a dead teammate. You can't activate the gadget and use the laser, for example, or the sonic blast, but you can move it around, you can look through it. So in that case, his teammates were able to watch the door for him. Not quite sure what the call was in terms of where he was aiming to go. Was he hoping to get above, for example, or what? But one of those I look at and think that could have been done so much differently if you played it a bit more passively and just let them come to you because you had the information advantage. Never mind though, as you say, Tim, this is now match point for SSG. It gives them a critical point in the series, and I'm pretty sure we worked it out earlier on. As long as SSG get one map in this series, Rogue cannot catch them no matter what happens, because at this point SSG are 2 points ahead. If Rogue were to win 2-1 overall, Rogue get 2 points and SSG get 1. For those of you who can do a little bit of maths, that means SSG are still 1 point ahead of Rogue and will be the ones sitting in third place. So, it's far from saying that this is done and dusted for Rogue. They've got a chance here to fight their way back in for overtime, but it's still going to be a tough ask all the way through the series.
Coming into the action phase of what could be our last round. It could also head us into overtime, depending who can pick this up. It's going to be a Blue Bar Sunrise defense for Rogue. And they need this, as you said, as if they want to keep challenging for that upper bracket, if they want to leave themselves in a position where they can leapfrog SSG. But SSG going very, very well so far. 5 attacking rounds, they are 4-1. Rogue only able to lock down Penthouse and Theatre so far, and they're not going to go there again. They're going to be over on the other side of the map, the exact opposite really, other side, other floor. Everything is different for Rogue. Let's hope that the outcome for them can be different than the last few.
Like the Prano's actually stepped across to playing on the smoke now as well. It's the first time in their lineup it feels like they've had a properly supportive comp in a way. Well, I say comp, really, he's the only one that I look at and think, yeah, that's supportive. You've got the Oryx of Aces charging around, Cryan looking to get busy out in the map as he's been doing all half. Rips, one of the rare few not using a DMR at this point, it feels like. We've seen a lot of those throughout the day and the week overall. And Leon will be out and about on the Melusi as well.
Pretty sure Cryan's just used an impact nade to clear out an air jab there that was placed above the luggage door. Could be wrong. When we come out of this scope, we might see. No, it's still there. So it wasn't used for that. Leon is going to be down. SSG might just give themselves a advantage, but Rampy, no, he gets caught chasing that kill, and he's going to be taken out from VIP, but this could be dangerous for Rogue. Hot and Cold gets straight up there. He knows there's an opportunity. He's looking for them. Sees in Theatre, gets a little bit lucky with the spray onto Aces there. I think he was actually chasing Cryan. That's who he was having the battle with on the door. And Aces, as a poor bystander, just gets gunned down.
Unfortunate there, yeah. Operation Save Leon not going so effectively for Rogue here. I think he will just bleed out on 90. No one going to be able to get to him in time. More just playing as a temporary drone for the team. And finally, will find himself bleeding out. 4 versus 3 then for SSG. And looking towards the Roamers here. Again, Prano on this smoke, as far away from sight as you can arguably be here. He's sat just on the other side of this wall, around courtyard, down inside the main stairwell. Isn't playing with the FMG, has the SMG instead, plus the shotgun on side. Of course, to open up rotates and so on and so forth where needed inside of the sites. SSG starting to square up potentially what looks like here. An office side execute with the plant behind blue bar.
Rips just playing a little bit tentatively there. SSG have now got their access to site. Bosco, that 6th Sense just kicking in again, knows there might be a push coming in from security. It's Prano who's moved around onto that flank, but if he's not careful, he might get himself caught out. He's rotating back to site after the smoke canister comes in to obscure the view, so he's not going to be able to hold the plant away. Bosco does find Cryan on the drop down. It's all over Des. Fultz gets Prano. It's 4v1. Skies is implanting the diffuser. It's all up to Rips. He's got it all to do. There is nothing, no way he can stop this plant going down. He needs to find kills. He's going to be peppered on the cool vibe stairs. Takes him down to about 40 HP. He's just trying to get something going here, trying to find anything he can. He's got about 20 seconds left to realistically do something here, and that something is going to have to be 4 kills. He gets gunned down as he drops the hatch, and that is going to be the first map going to SSG. They lock down Coastline 7-5.
There was a little bit of a rocky journey through SSG in that map, the second half of the first half, so you guess you could call it the second quarter, looking a bit dicey as Rogue went on a spree of rounds in their favour. But it may have taken all 12, but they did walk away with the win. One more they need, and looking pretty excited about that. A little bit ecstatic. Again, it's late at night and these boys really like to win. It's a, what do you always say, Tim? Winning is a habit or something?
Winning is a habit. Winning is a habit.
Winning is a habit, and it's a personality choice apparently as well. If you ask some of these players, they're having tons of fun with it. Clubhouse waits around the corner. It's SSG's map pick. I imagine we'll see them starting on the attack given they didn't choose the map itself. But how about we go to a quick break? When we come back, we'll jump straight into it. Let's get on with it. Welcome back to SSG versus Rogue, the last best of 3 here in the group stage of the Six Invitational 2022. We've just seen SSG take Rogue's map away from them, 7-5 on Coastline, and now we step into Clubhouse, which, as you may well all know, is SSG's at home turf. So much so they have a strat on this map named after the team themselves. I'm Des, this is Tim. Had a pretty good time so far, aren't we, Tim?
It's not been bad. I mean, that was a surprise result, I'll be honest. That's what I'm looking for at this time of night. If we've got a late game, let's at least get something out of it. And SSG just showed us a great second half there. I've wanted to be excited about NA during this tournament. I've said it a few times. And SSG really giving me something to be excited about. 22 kills coming in between Bosco and Hot and Cold. Great entry from them on the whole as well, at the top of the table at least. But I've got to give a little nod to Leon and Cry in there. 5-2 overall on the entry, and Crying coming out as well with a great game for himself. Rogue maybe a little bit unlucky in places not to take more out of Coastline, but it's not going to get any easier when they go to Clubhouse.
They ran out of steam in the second half, really. Yes. Crying was like 9-2 after 5 rounds, so 3 kills, and the rest of them just goes to show they did start to drop off from that point onwards. Clubhouse could be a little bit more of a different story. It's a much more structured map compared to Coastline, which many would describe as Team Deathmatch Central. Looking forward to that game mode coming out. But Clubhouse itself, much more strategy-based. You're going to see much more teamwork coming into it. So expect to see trades, expect to see timed executes. Generally, that is why SSG is seen as a stronger team on this map and why they've chose to go there. Because NA as a region plays the game more like many would say like chess. You know, it's much more structured. It's about all moving at the same time. Whereas Rogue, they're going to be the thorn in their side, looking to disrupt those plans and blow them up before anything can even get underway.
Absolutely. The thing is, for SSG now, they want to send a message as well, Des. You know, they're going into the playoffs.
Why don't they send a text then?
They want to send a message ahead of them, particularly about Clubhouse. You know, we've been known for the longest time to be great on this map. Don't take us there. And Clubhouse is one of the absolute staple maps of any Siege map pool. So if you're coming in and teams are thinking, oh boy, we don't want to play SSG on Clubhouse, that's taking away a map that most teams should be comfortable to play on. So it really is a message for SSG to send. We're going to be loading in any second now for this second map between SSG and Rogue. Rogue look ready for it. They're pumped. They're ready to go. They want to get themselves back into this one. They want to carry themselves forward. Like I said, at this point, you're at the end of the group stages. It's all about going out with a bang now and taking yourself into the playoffs with a bit of momentum, with that wind under your wings. Get yourself in there on a win, and you can really be positive about the next couple of days.
Big 2-0 would be a fantastic result for SSG. Less so for Rogue, who would find themselves slipping into 4th place straight into the lower bracket. But Tim, without further ado, we are into the ban phase, and it's a double hard breach ban. So Thatcher, no doubt going to be a part of this map overall. Look forward to seeing that every now and then. Hibana being taken away is more for the focus on the downstairs site. So it's slightly strengthened here by the sheer fact that it's available. Imagine you could see a Kai ban coming through here. Valkyrie, Mira, other things that creep into mind. Wamai sometimes is a thing as well. But I think Valkyrie, as we've said several times, at this point, probably the highest ban percentage operator in the entire competition.
Certainly is. We've seen it I mean, to be fair, we've seen Valkyrie slip through a couple of times today, you and I. Yeah. We've seen a little bit, but as soon as Valkyrie slips through the ban, you see a lot of Valkyrie play. That tells you everything you need to know.
Well, Yas earlier on was 6-picking it in every single round possible for Dan Wonkier. Would start on like a Legion or an Alibi and then just change across to it, and I was like, why all this a 6-pick?
There's no point in the 6-pick anymore.
I think it was just in case it was trying to say, are you going to pick IQ? You're going to pick IQ? Huh? And they never did.
Yeah. But we will, you know, where Valkyrie is available, you will see a lot of her played. But she's gone, Mira's gone as well, and we're going to start out with SSG on the defence. They're going to head downstairs to Church and Arsenal to kick us off. It's going to be in the basement. We've got the Mute, we've got a Vigil, we've got a Malusi, so I would expect to see some presence away from sight here for SSG. It's not going to be the full textbook SSG roam strategy that we used to see, but I'm sure it's going to be a little twist on it, and we're going to have a presence on the top floor.
Absolutely. We know what they like to do, and it's not like you have to bring out the strat every single time. A small bit of variation on what you normally see. So I do think with Hot and Cold on the Vigil, Bosco playing on the Mute, they will probably look at heading skyward, but the rest will mainly focus their setup around what's going on in the basement. And it's also worth noting, the meta has changed a ton since the SSG roam was invented. For those of you who don't know what it is that we're talking about when we say the SSG roam, generally the lineup will include a Vigil to play on the ground floor, a Mute and Mozzie to go on the top floor. The idea with them being they basically blanket out the entirety of that floor and make it so you can't get drones inside, you can't clear them out. You then have a castle, reinforce or barricade off a lot of individual doorways and windows on the ground floor. The idea behind that being that if someone were to rush into site, then the members on the top floor, the Mute and the Mozzie, can drop through construction hatch, down bar hatch, and inside 7 seconds you can be back on site very quickly. So it can be very, very impactful. It can be very powerful, but some teams did start to figure it out. And Rogue are just saying, you know what, we know what you boys like doing. We're coming in for a rush. Here comes the drop. Whee! Smashy, smashy time. Straight in towards side. Skies caught out as one also comes storming down through dirt. They're in, they're planting, and somehow 7 seconds ain't going to be enough to get back for the boys of SSG. They've got a plant down inside 36 seconds, Tim.
But here comes SSG on the retake. Bosco, hot and cold, finding one apiece. It was Prano who was able to get that diffuser down. He's lost his life just after doing so. 3v3 now, and they're fighting back in, but Leon, he's got his heels dug in, manages to find one, shut down by hot and cold in the trade door. 20 seconds if SSG want to leave themselves time to disable this diffuser. There comes Bosco from blue, surely not. This could be the ultimate counter rush. 10 seconds. It's hot and cold versus Crying. I cannot believe what I've seen out of this first round. Takes a pot shot into blue. He knows he's going to have to stick this. It's now or never. Crying just leaves it perfectly timed, moves around, gets the kill, and Rogue, they get away with it. What a play from them. Hot drop in the hatch. That's not how you often see teams get into that site. It's usually down blue stairs or in through dirt tunnel. Get into stock, hot drop the hatch, and off you go. Great play from Rogue.
I'd argue going in through stock is less risky than the normal go-to play, because when you're pushing inside storage, you're opening up the window, then trying to vaulting yourself over the stairs. If someone's sat inside a lounge or in garage, they're going to hear that break open. The doorway just a little bit further out to the east, and the chances of someone hearing that inside of stock are very, very low. Really good stuff out of Rogue, and a surefire way of, like I said, 7 seconds and getting back to site. You can do a lot of things in 7 seconds inside Siege, including getting the diffuser down, killing off Skies, and making it near impossible for SSG to retake.
Unreal play from Rogue there. Love to see it, just doing things a little bit differently. We're at that point whereby they know they're in the playoffs. They're going to just be willing to try a couple of things, and it worked. SSG won't be caught out with it again. You're not going to get away with that a second time, but it was certainly worth the first. They're going to move site here, SSG, up to the top floor. CCTV and Cash it will be. We're going to have a catwalk hold. We've got mute jammers, we've got ADSs, we've got everything that you could hope for to try and keep this in place.
Yeah, this is looking pretty atypical for a setup on this site, right? 2 ADSs on catwalk, 1 in front of the west window. In case you're wondering why that ADS is just randomly placed there, it's definitely not random. There's also a reason why there's a laser gate on the window. And that's because having Bosco on the bandit means that you want to be actively bandit tricking, as we call it, where you're trying to place down your bandit charge as a exothermic or a Selma is placed onto that east wall. Now, if he isn't there in good time, it will just get opened up for free, which is why Bosco's having to hightail it back here, and you'll now see the said bandit tricking taking place. Now, there's 2 ways in which you can remove the bandit tricker. You can look to get below and blow out the floor, chuck grenades up there, for example, to potentially kill him or threaten him away, as Leon is about to do with a grenade. The other alternative is you go to the west window and throw in grenades from afar. That is why a laser gate and an ADS are going to help you slow that down. He might find himself blown skywards here from below if he's not too careful, because for the side of Rogue, they've pretty much got control of it for free.
Leon's underneath. I think he's just about pulled the pin. There goes the nade, and what a beautiful shot we get of that. Bosco down, wall opened. Well played from Rogue. They really are teaching some lessons to SSG at the minute. Instances has just run into sight. Somehow SSG managed to hold on, but it's with the skin of their teeth. 2v3 here as they still come out worse for wear. Skies, however, just takes a little lap around the site and takes one down with the shotgun. It's all down to Leon and Crying. We've got a little bit of a pause in the action here. Skies has flipped back to the SMG. I think he's just looking to make the challenge, and it comes from the red door.
He's got a C4 on side as well, if required, but he can hold with his... Oh! Oh, what a swing from Leon. Skies didn't even see the man coming. Rampy in a 1 versus 2. Diffuser recovered. Leon has an idea as to where he is, but isn't 100% sure. In comes the plant. Can he win this one-on-one gunfight whilst the plant is going down? Crying. Gonna stick this one all the way through, and Rampy sees the man stick his head round the corner, but can't get anything off the back of it. That C4 from Skies would have really helped right about now, but he's got a lot of work to do. Swing comes in. Leon closes it out, and it looks like, by the looks of it, Rogue are dragging SSG into their way of playing Clubhouse, one full of pace and panache.
SSG looks stunned at the minute. I think
they just, yeah.
I think anybody would be. You know, Ace is just tearing in through CCTV window. Again, it's just all sort of smoke and mirrors. It's a little bit of distraction. Let's make some noise over here and punch you from the back. And it was really well played from Rogue there. 2-0, and they are racing through this attack at the minute. We're going to head into round 3. It's going to be Gym and Bedroom. SSG want no part of that either. I think they're coming away from these sites just really never wanting to play them again. They're going to cycle through to the third choice and see if they can find something there.
Great start, great start. Is nil a global term, by the way? So they have it like America. So I don't know if they do or not.
Meaning 0.
Yeah. You said 2-0, and I was like, that's a very football thing for me to hear. Like, we don't often say nil.
2-0? 2-0? I think I've always said it.
Oh, Sayana's just tuned in. Like, they know it, but they don't really use it.
They don't use it.
What do you say, Sayana? Do you just say 20-0? 20-0, yeah, okay.
2-0.
Oh, they need to introduce nil into their daily vocab. It's a beautiful word. It's 2-0. Can really get the nil behind it. It's great. Really suits your accent, to be fair.
That's probably why.
Come on, Tim, give me a good nil.
Nil.
That was crap, but okay, fair enough.
Well, I wasn't in the floor, was I?
Nah.
Right. Round 3, setup is almost done. We're going to have the cache and CCTV hold. Don't have the east wall reinforced as of yet, and no reinforcements left, so the east wall is going to be left open. That is going to be quickly opened, I would imagine, by Rogue. They'll get themselves up there and look to sweep across, try and clear that out. We've got vertical holes being opened up, Hot and Cold playing underneath. There's a lot going on for SSG here.
There is. The problem is, in all the setups they've done, there's a, air quotes, lot going on. They're looking busy, it's looking quite complex, it's looking sprawling, like they're saying, look, Clubhouse is ours. We've paid the rent, we've got the lease for the land. Get off, you miscreants. And then Rogue come in and just smash the place to pieces in no time at all. So, what I'm most excited to see is, do Rogue do a full-on slow clear across from Cache CC in? Or do they find some other cheeky way of getting things moving? Do they go for a stupid drop inside of logistics? I really doubt that's going to be the play. But they could get themselves on the windows, for example, and just have someone sit on the roof and watch the CC window rather than trying to go for a full clear. You have got Faults on the Maestro sat out there. Crying's just behind him on the main stairs, by the way. So although Rampy's daring the Iana to come poking in, there is definitely action going on the other side of the map, and action looks like a grenade from below. It's another one of those, as some great drone work gives Crying an absolute freebie.
Just showing the value of those yellow pings. We've seen it time and again with the vertical grenades. That's going to be leveling things up though. Bosco gets aggressive onto Crying. As Crying moved himself back across that breach that he'd opened up there, maybe he didn't quite see Bosco in the side of CCTV, but either way he takes a couple of bullets to the face, and that is going to be the round for him. 4 versus 4. You just feel if SSG can get something here, get a defense, it turns the tide for them, because they're not going to get rushed the same again on Church and Arsenal. They're not going to have Aces jumping in through CCTV window on CCTV cache again. So you just feel like if they get this, they probably string a few together.
Well, it was the same as the reverse on Coastline, right? When we had SSG starting out at 2-0, and it was like, wow, they're really running away with this, and then Rogue get 2 more back out of nowhere. SSG called a tactical timeout. SSG go down 3-2. You know, the momentum can shift in the middle of a map for seemingly no reason, but it's normally because something they were missing or not quite clicking with has finally fell into place. Hopefully for SSG, now Rogue are playing this round a bit slower, they can get something better out of it. That Claymore on the drone hole, sorry. I've seen a couple work recently. I don't think here at SI, but we saw a couple work in the EU quals to get to SI.
Certainly did. Right then, here comes a little bit of a push from Rogue. They've got Jacuzzi Wall open. We see the Toxic Babe coming out from Skies just to try and slow things down. He's playing from in behind the shield there. Out goes another Toxic Babe onto the windows. I'm not sure that SSG are 100% certain of where this push is coming from. Rips does drop himself onto that valve.
Oh my, oh my!
Hits and manages to almost find one. Gets the down and the second. He's going wild. It's going to be 2 versus 1 now. Prano inside the site trying to find anything, trying to get it going here, but time runs down. He has to go for the plant. He can't do it, and that is going to be the round for SSG. And as I say, you just feel that could be a seal breaking.
Potentially. I think Rogue here, if they pull the trigger again and go fast in the early round, go for these high-octane executes that treated them so well during Stage 3 of EUL. We saw, for those who aren't aware, a completely different Rogue show up for Stage 3 of EUL. I remember they went to Villa, and they didn't bring a single hard breacher, and we all looked at that like, huh? No hard breaches, that's really weird. What they would do is spend 30 to 45 seconds droning out where players were, and then they would go, right boys, go. They would pull the trigger, they'd jump in through windows, they'd charge through doorways, and somehow they would just make it work. They'd get the kills necessary, they'd get the plant down, and before the defensive team had time to recover, Rogue were just in full control. They were a really successful attacking team in EUL in Stage 3, and that's what we saw in the first 2 rounds of this map. It's not all about rushes and being cheesy, it's just about the pace, because Ace is vaulting in through the west window on Cash TC, for example. I'll go as far as saying that wasn't really rushy or cheesy, it was just well-timed aggression because the distraction was taken off towards the east. This time we go down into the basement, and SSG, not fully deterred, Tim, have gone back to a similar sort of strategy where they have the Vigil, they have the Mute on side. The big difference is, look, Hot and Cold is reinforcing up the hatch, the one that normally, if you're roaming on the top floor, you'll use to get back down. So I'm expecting we're going to see much more of a site-based hold here so they don't get caught by the rush once again.
Fultz on the Melusi out in Garage. Just going to put the Banshee down to prevent too much quick progress coming in from there. I think they're very aware here, SSG, of the potential for Rogue trying those antics again, trying to move quickly and get themselves inside of sight. But I don't think Rogue are going to try and repeat the same thing. They are looking to get themselves inside a kitchen and then move on from there by the looks of things. We've got one going up to the rooftop, which is likely going to open logistics hatch. It's crying on the sledge and then try to push from that top-down clearance. But they're going to meet some resistance. Rampy's under there, Bosco is supporting as well, and SSG are going to hold on to this top floor for as long as they can.
Yeah, nothing coming out of Rogue in terms of a big rush push. They are playing it pretty sensibly so far. Heavily focused around dirt, to be fair. Cryin, Prano, Leon, and Aces all up towards that side of the map, while Rips is looking down the main hallway towards main stairs when they force these players further back towards site. Rampy going to dip himself away, heading towards, by the looks of it, towards gym and bedroom. May find himself going down main stairs, though, if he feels the pressure start to build up. For now, it's all about wasting time and killing drones.
Rampy just continuing to try and hold logistics hatch. Doesn't want the drop coming in because as long as they're up there, this is exactly what they can do. They can keep shooting off the Selmas, they can keep them off kitchen hatch, and they can prevent that progress being made towards site. They also tie up Cryin on the sledge, who isn't in opening up the mid-floor as we would expect. That's still completely intact right now. So Rogue need to find an answer to this top floor. For the time being, Prano's going to go in and try to do a little bit of work. Obviously had a bit of information on Fultz there. Takes a pot shot through the floor, but they're never easy to land, aren't those? And Fultz is able to just dance away a little bit there and just avoid taking any damage.
Reasonable stuff. Turning their attention now towards dirt. Prano working his way down, along with Aces and Leon. They're pretty much all stacked inside here, so it might be a little bit delayed, but you might see quite an aggressive push coming in, because Skies right now is expecting more of a blue push. The drone coming in does suggest that they were thinking about blue, but it could be a bit of a ruse. Fultz got the long cross angle, currently 0-3 in the map, by the way, so yet to really have an impact. This could be where that turns around as soon as Rogue look to step in.
Fultz just holding that angle now. The push is going to come from dirt, I think. Skies is there with the shotgun as well. Cryin manages to get Bosco. It's all down to Rampy here. He manages to find one, finds two, and Fultz is supporting from the side. Cryin manages to get Skies. It's a bit of a bloodbath inside of sight, but it's SSG that are coming out on top here. It's all up to Prano and Rips as they continue this push. With 25 seconds left to go, they need to get a move on. Rips is going to head down those main stairs. All Prano can really do is hold an angle before he tries to push in from dirt. He might just get one with a bit of patience, but I don't think the man's going to expose himself from behind that box there because he knows the danger that it will come with it. Rips moving into the corridor, shut down by Fultz. Prano gets one, but they know where he is now. Swing around, Rampy gets him on the trade, and that is going to be SSG taking another round, and they are certainly underway here. I said once they got that first defense, it might just break the seal, and out they come. Second one in a row now, 2-all, and Rogue's games, they're not going to work anymore.
And that was a 4K for Rampy in the round as well, right? I saw the 3K flash over 1 point and know he got the closing kill, so yeah, a big round for him. And that's why you're seeing him full of beans, screaming across the Rogue. Bit of, I don't want to say intimidation, because likely they were just like, yeah, whatever, it's just being loud, but definitely let him know exactly how he felt that round went down. I think it was a 4K now that he sits on 5. Good stuff. Leon having another good map, sat at 6 and 3 as well. Crying at 5 and 2. So the same usual suspects as we saw back on Coastline, Tim, are showing up at least for the Rogue side. Now this could be interesting, by the way. Bar and Stage, and that is one hell of a reinforcement, wielding it like a shield.
I think.
I love that.
That's just a little visual glitch there.
It is, but that's what makes it beautiful.
So, Baron Stage, as you said, SSG going to just maybe see if they can hold it down, show us something different on here. It's not a sight that we see too often, and I don't think we see it over in the NAL too often either. They're going to try to hold on to the top floor. Try and ignore it, Des. Try and ignore it. They're going to try to hold on to the top floor largely. Maybe a little bit of a presence inside of Strip as well. Rogue likely to push in probably from the stock side, try and open stage wall, get onto stage to get the plant down. And SSG, they look to hold from the hatch inside of construction. So that's going to be their sort of battle line. They don't want to be pushed further back than that. If they lose construction, then it's open for Rogue to get the plant down.
Rips has got one as well. They're going to have a sword fight, I think, in this round. It's going to be beautiful, Tim. Oh, small things can tickle me sometimes, Tim, especially this late at night. Absolutely delightful. Either way, it doesn't change how the round plays out. It is just observer sides. The players undisturbed by that, so don't worry about it too much. Here for Rogue, at least, we're looking here for a focus out towards the east by the looks of it. Rips was starting out on the east side wall. Now we've got Cryan setting himself up inside of construction as well, whilst Leon moves in below, looks to challenge inside of the actual site itself very early in the round before they have full vertical control.
Gets himself inside of stock so that he can use those nanobots to give himself a little bit of a boost on the old health front, just to try and avoid that chip damage taking its toll. He's going to hold down through lounge on to blue stairs to try and catch anybody out on those rotates, but for the time being, SSG, they're happy to hold on to the top floor. Hot and Cold is out in front of us over on the strip side, and he's going to try and hold that down. We start to see a little bit of progress for Rogue as hard breaches come in. Prano's going to get the wall open to give access to the plant spot. The bulletproof camera there will feed a bit of information back in. Fultz holding from behind the bar, but SSG pretty happy at the minute because they're not being moved around from the top floor.
Sorry. Yeah. Everything you said there is completely accurate, Tim, and I promise you I wasn't distracted in the slightest. The alibi being outside does mean that at least in this position you can look for the jump out, right? I'm pretty sure it has a timed amount on it now as well, so it will fade after a certain amount of time. Bosco, I think he was looking for a little bit of a chance shot there as well, but gets the C4 out. Rips down the deck, but Leon instantly reviving up with the Finker, of course, the boon of having her on side as she can get up those down, but not out. Teammates, Rampy with a big 3K, could have made it a fourth until Leon ends his reign of tyranny. Bosco left in the bathroom with the shotgun. It's all down to Leon and Prano. The work for Rampy is done, and he can just put his feet back now and go, yep, I've done the hard yards, boys. Now go and clean them up.
Leon not keen on peeking into the shower because I think he knows exactly what he's finding. It's Bosco with a shotgun ready to take him down. Leon is back up to near full health here, looking to chase the man around. He knows that he's inside a CCTV, I think, but he's got to go towards that diffuser. 25 seconds left to go, or you find all 4 kills. Both sound unlikely for Leon at this point in time. SSG having a much better time of it in the last couple of rounds, but Leon's got a sniff of a kill here, so he's going for it, but the man drops outside and he's gonna get himself back in through the main door, I think. Leon tries to just hair his way around into lounge, see if he can catch him out, but that's gonna be all for this round as the time ticks down. SSG take the win and they go 3-2.
He's asking, are they droning, Tim? The answer apparently is no.
I mean, there's some high energy. I think it's some high spirits.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
Some high spirits on the side of SSG.
I am really dying for SSG versus DZ because you just know what Canadian's going to be like.
Yep.
He had some golden lines yesterday. We didn't get them all because I'm told in one of them he was screaming down the mic so much that they just simply couldn't record it. It was just, so you can't really hear it. But the one we did hear was saying Bolo can't buy a round. Even with his subscribers, he can't buy a round.
I saw that on Twitter this morning. It made me laugh.
I saw a video actually from SI 2020, the first one you and I worked together, Tim. And Jackie, our wonderful host, was interviewing Canadian and said, here are some lines, had it written down on cards. Here are things that you said whilst in a game. Now, can you read them out for us in a non-aggressive manner? And as you can imagine, all the old historical quotes came out, and he was just stood there reading them, very, very simply saying, I'm old as and have the worst gun in the game. Just saying it in a very normal conversation. And what I love about that level of energy you get is him and like Rampy, for example, two of the nicest guys you'll meet when you're not playing in the... Well, they're still nice in game as well. It's all a bit of fun, of course, and jest. But outside of the game, they are two of the loveliest guys you'll meet. But once they get inside the server, it's all business.
Competitive. The thing is, you don't get...
You know what he's seen, Rampy? He's seen Canadian on the timeline and thinking, where's my turn?
Exactly.
Someone's got to be the villain.
I want my clip. The thing is, you don't get to this level without being competitive. It's as simple as that. These players want to win, whether it means something, whether it doesn't mean it. They want to win every single round, every minute of every round. They really don't want to give an inch. Rampy was giving absolutely nothing in that round. A big triple K to really power SSG towards what I suggested might happen. And once they get that first defensive win and Rogue's tricks don't work anymore, it's going to be difficult for them. Now then, we see the Electroclaw trick as well. That's going to successfully take away an exothermic charge. Cryan, however, manages to find Rampy on a little spray through the window there. So that's not a bad play, but that is a big, big problem now. That's both exothermics gone. There's only 2 Selma charges left. They're going to be having to be very specific about where they use these, but it doesn't matter. They don't need the hard breach stairs. They're just finding kills.
I would love to see nades nerfed at some point. They are obnoxious with how many nade kills we see. I mean, it's better seeing some nade kills come out than none. Admittedly, I do like seeing the odd one, but there are a good couple every single round, it feels like. And even here, we only have 4 of them on side. 2 used, 1 netting a kill. And SSG find themselves down in numbers. I was going to say between the rounds as well, Tim, Rogue started out with a 2-0 and we've seen SSG swing 3 rounds back. It's the exact inverse of what we saw on Coastline when SSG started out with 2 rounds, then Rogue won 3 back. If we carry on the trend, Rogue will win this map 7-5.
Skaz is just waiting for that peek around the corner. He's got the shotgun locked and loaded. He's done some great work with it so far, and given an opportunity, he'll do some more. He knows that the breach is open, and he's just waiting for the sound of footsteps to signal the approach coming in. Fultz is going to lock himself down inside a cache. He's got the Alder on the long angle, and he's going to try to hold them at bay from there. He can watch mostly along the line of the windows to keep them out. It's all up to Rogue as to how and when they push now.
It is, yeah. I guess they were slightly blessed. They still had the Selmas, of course, on side to get things opened up, but not as open as they might like. A bigger hole, a bit more effective at getting yourself moving through in a more comfortable angle. Cryan's got himself lying down while they're playing again for more of these lightsaber duels by the looks of it, through floors and walls. It's beautiful. However, at this point, Cryan could be a big X factor. Think back on Coastline when he was hidden away in the corner inside a lobby, and the damage that he could have almost done from that position. Unfortunately, wasn't needed in the round itself, but Rips starting off with a big one. Aces into a second, and like that, Rogue have shut things down at a moment's notice. Still, Tim, that balances things out quite interestingly here, where Rogue have not quite fully battled their way back, but they've definitely brought things up to 3-3.
3-3, not bad at all. A squeeze of the thumb and a click of the fingers was all it took for Rogue at the end of that round. Finka boosted, they went in, and they found their frags. We are dead level. The question is now, can SSG do any better on the attack? You've got to expect that they're going to be bringing something to the table. Can Rogue stand up to it? We're going to find out. We're going into the second half. SSG did win on Coastline, so a reminder, if they do win here on Clubhouse, it will be a full 3-point victory for them.
And in classic fashion, a very Roam-heavy comp by the looks of it coming out of the side of Rogue. Now, for SSG to only find those 3 defensive rounds, bit of a kicker, knowing it was your map choice, but given the way the game is currently leaning, as far as I think Dev said earlier on, he baited me, he was like, did you know Clubhouse is attacker leaning? And I was like, there's clearly something else behind this. What's the percentage? He was like 49%. I was like, fantastic. So within a 1% swing, you are seeing 3-3 halves on average across the Six Invitationals so far. So pretty balanced in terms of the makeup. If things carry on as they are here, again, overtime could be on the way, or you might just find Rogue snatching it and forcing us through to a map 3.
It wouldn't surprise me. No. It wouldn't surprise me. Given the first few rounds that Rogue had, the reason that it wouldn't surprise me is that they're a team at the minute inside of this game, we saw it to begin with, that they're willing to just do crazy things. And crazy things win your rounds. If they can steal another couple like that, it makes it really difficult for SSG. But it depends. If SSG come in on the attack and just play this like really properly as we would expect, top floor clearance, move the way down, force Rogue back, they could make life very difficult for them on the defense if they try in those sort of different plays. So SSG at the minute are looking in that direction. They've got Leon inside of logistics, going to force him away potentially when they open the hatch. He's only going to drop himself back as far as Closet for the time being. Just take a couple of pot shots out of there. There's nobody circling around it, so there's not going to be any challenge immediately. There's a drone just above him. May hear him moving around, but we'll certainly pick up the white little bars flickering around it to show that Vigil is present nearby.
Yes, Prano and Leon both being quite cheeky. Prano up in dirt, Leon obviously actually sat inside of logistics itself, both looking to challenge quite directly into the hatch. So if anyone was lurking around the edge of the roof, then Prano would have had their number. Fortunately for the side of Rogue, for the side of SSG, no one was in that proximity to get caught out. So good job so far, and as one crosses back on the downstairs, Skies takes a little love tap. Of course, not particularly unhealthy at this point, but every hit point can count the later in the round you go.
Going to have all 5 back on site now. SSG, I'm sure it won't take them long to realise that they can start getting in and getting their work done. They've got plenty of hard breach, they've got the ace, they've got the thermite, they've got Thatcher to assist, and so they can start getting those hatches open and start thinking about pressuring these defenders down on site. Not a terrible job done by Rogue so far on the defence. Nearly 2 minutes gone, and we're only starting to get to stage 2 for SSG, opening up those reinforcements and starting to clear out utility. So still lots of work for the North Americans.
Yes, they've lost about half of that round or so in dealing with Rogue 2 is the one thing to consider. Leon, clearly not done with being cheeky. He's got to be mindful of the Claymore, which I think he impacts off there. I'm pretty sure it's been moved. No, the angle just ever so slightly off. Must be a matter of pixels, but enough clearly that it has not been removed. Now that he is out of impacts, he will not be able to make use of those ladders for a cheeky, sneaky flank. On the other side for SSG, a lot of their focus is around kitchen and the main stairs. Looks to be a moto and kitchen drop in terms of the execute, but they still need to get kitchen opened up. Salma's being committed in towards getting church opened up, so maybe not. Maybe it's a moto and church execute here, the kitchen more of a bait.
Could well be. They've got Crane playing hard under the hatch, but Fultz is going to take down 2. He's just pushed his way down. Prano shuts him down. Aces gets 1. 3v3. Skies is getting the plant down here, and this could be over for Rogue. 3 versus 2 here. Plant successful, and surely they hold on to this SSG. It's all up to Prano, but he's low health, and he's on the prowl. He knows there's one inside. A moto gets him. Can he find the second? Bosco, he's going to have to play this carefully. He backs himself away onto the main stairs. 22 seconds. There comes the smoke. Prano might just take the opportunity to peek through it, but Bosco's eyes are better. Doesn't matter that the vision is obscured, and he manages to find his man, get the kill, and that is the first attacking round for SSG.
Really thought Prano might be able to clutch it out there. A touchback on Coastline. He's one of the guys that I count on when it comes down to a big 1v1 or a 1 versus 2, the kind of guy that you want to clutch these things out. He's come nail-bitingly close in a couple now, bringing him down to 1v1s, but just not quite able to get it over the finish line. 4-3 to SSG, a good first attack, and that's a promising sign if you want to see this one closed out in 2, Tim.
It certainly is. SSG looking good on the attack. They're going to be bringing the Flores as well. That's certainly only going to add to their power here on the attack there, as we've spoken about Flores' capability and his strength so far, and it's certainly not going to make them any weaker. They're going to be attacking onto the top floor this time around. If we remember Rogue's attack, it was basically a big rush into sight. They just got that wall open very quickly. Aces hopped in through the CCTV window and they killed everybody. Simple as that. Now then, SSG, I think we're going to see something again, a little bit more of a structured attack from them, much like they've just done on the bottom floor there. Try and get the east wall opened up, try and get hold of Garage Catwalk and push in from that side.
Absolutely. I think you got Leon here trying to actively play on the bandit trick, same as we saw out of SSG in their defensive side. Maybe a couple of differences coming in here is looking towards 1, where they're being placed down, and 2, where the ADSs and magnets are being distributed. This time there are no laser gates. So that west window that we spoke about earlier on, a little bit more exposed. The flash coming in, then a nade following in soon after will see the end of Leon. His demise will come, and the wall, therefore, will not be much longer for this world either. So keep an eye on where SSG start off on their attack. The one big difference I'm looking at, really, is on the attacker side itself, though. Faults on the Flores. I think I'm like a broken record by this point in the amount that I've spoken about the Flores, the bans that it's seen, the strength of the operator in general, an absolute nightmare in Leon with a pretty unfortunate time to reinforce. Up in fact, no, has support coming in from Red. He banded tricks on the wrong side, and they'll get this right side opened up, left side opened up, sorry. And now Leon is a little bit trapped in here, just waiting for someone to wide swing. Potentially it will be a freebie for him if they aren't too cautious.
The thing is, they're not going to expect him here, and as they move across the garage, he might just get one here. He might get 2 if he's lucky. He's just waiting, he sees his man, and he gets the spray down. But Skies, he manages to hit his shots. Those were essential. Des goes as quick as he can onto the flick. Fultz is down, likely to get finished as the peak comes out from garage door. Aces knew that the man was there for the taking, takes him down and leaves us 4v4. Whew, what a start from SSG and Rogue.
That's hard because they were relying somewhat on those Rotero drones to help clear out garage, you know, to get rid of the bandits, to get rid of the ADSs that are scattered up there. Lots of work that it could have done for them, no longer able. And with that, Cryan should feel a little bit more secure playing up in Catwalk. And also not forgetting, the longer that Aces is alive, the more of those magnets he gets, up to a maximum of 8. I think he gets that last one with 30 seconds remaining in the round. By which time most grenades will have been expended, so you won't see it all that often, but it will help Cryan at least feel, again, a little bit more secure inside a Catwalk. If he can hold on to this, then SSG may have to change their tactics slightly and choose where they want to attack. You've got Hot and Cold and Skies out near the actual main door itself, who could look to come in through that west window, but I think they're aware of Rips running around downstairs like a bit of a lunatic and want to find him finished off first. He's prowling, looking out towards that front door because the yellow pings are given the idea of what's going on. May not have been spotted by that drone and could feel like he can find something here.
That drone definitely did spot him.
Yes.
If the first one didn't. That's going to lead Rips to drop himself down into the basement. The question is, how much impact can he have from down there? The SSG now getting themselves in to look for the challenge onto Catwalk. They're going to take half damage away from Cryan, and that's going to be the rest of it going. SSG looking good at the minute. They've got themselves the garage that they need. They can start pushing on towards site. They just need to be aware of Rips. He could be the thorn in the side. He's looking to push in, but I think they've got somebody covering the angle. Hot and Cold, he's aware. He's waiting for Rips to push forward. It should be an easy kill when it comes. If he challenges it, he's just going to hold on to that for the rest of the round. 20 seconds left to go. SSG, they need to make progress. They need to get themselves into sight. That's not going to help them. That puts the diffuser down cold. Rampy, Hot and Cold managed to get one apiece. It's time to get that diffuser going with 8 seconds left to go. Prano left at top of Red, doing everything he can to hold them back. Brings himself into a 1v1 effectively.
Oh, the diffuser! It was cold on the ground. They didn't get it up in time. I thought someone was running over it, Tim, but they missed it.
I don't know what happened there. There was 3 left for SSG. The diffuser was down cold, and it was after Skies was dropped that it went down, but I don't know exactly where it was, and they just couldn't get to it and get it down. I thought for all our life that was an SSG round.
I really thought they'd find the kill, as well as one came swinging in from the breach and one was pushing on red stairs. I thought, surely Prano doesn't win here. And although it wasn't a win in the sense of he got all the kills, the smoke canister that got the man down with the diffuser in the backpack was enough to get the round over the line. SSG going to be lamenting themselves a little bit for that one. Really feeling that should have been them moving up to 5-3 and well on the way to victory. Instead, it's 4-4. Gym and bedroom we head into next, as Rogue select this as their offsite rather than heading down to bar and stage.
They have gone we've seen everywhere from SSG. The question is, are Rogue going to do the same thing? Are they going to pick up bar at some point, or are they not going to be as confident in holding it for the time being? It's going to be Jim. It's going to be the other top floor site, not wanting to go all the way back down to basement either after the SSG attack from last time around. So it's going to be another top floor. They're going to try holding on to the east side again, in contrast to what SSG did, where they left the east breach soft. Rogue, they are going to reinforce it, so they're going to burn at least some utility, forcing SSG to come and open that. I don't think they're going to have any denial on there. Aces may choose to nip through and put a mute jammer on, but it doesn't really keep anybody away from there for long.
Bit mad when you look at it. Actually, they've got ADSs, laser gates, Goyo shields, reinforcements galore. Really committing into this eastern hull, which begs the question, what if SSG just ignore the whole thing and instead go out towards the west and focus on, say, Jacuzzi and playing on this balcony with someone just sitting on the roof holding that east window? That is another option that you have to play with. So much so the Hot and Cold now feel is pretty aware that's going to be a thing and doesn't have to concern himself too much with it. They have opened up the reinforcement itself. Now, the key thing about this is you don't have to clear out this side of the map. You can just sit on the rappel out on east platform and look to contest anyone that runs in from cache and tries to play out that west window. It does mean you won't cut the kills and you can't comfortably play inside of construction, but it does mean, hell, hey, you haven't got to commit tons of resource on that side of the map and instead can turn attention out towards the west. That's what they've gone through. The EMP's coming in onto this wall and the exothermic surely opening things up. Now, SSG have their point of entry.
Sky's going to take a little bit of damage as he moves across the drone hole there. Aces was led prone and managed to find his feet, crying.
Oh boy.
For a very cheeky peek here, and he might just get a little bit of joy. I think he's waiting for a bit of information.
He'll get rampy.
To come in. As soon as he knocks this out, I would expect them to react to it, but there you go. He sees up to the balcony. He's not going to catch anybody for the time being, but I'm just not sure that they're aware of his presence. He might actually be able to just sit there and wait. There's a minute and a half left to go. The drones are absolutely pouring in through that breach now for SSG. They're just trying to feel out this entire defense and see exactly who is where before they come for that final push, but SSG are poised coming into the final minute.
I think if Cryon had gone a bit quicker there and punched it sooner, he might have found Rampy, who was sat challenging onto the main stairs window, but not to be found. He is down to a slither of HP, but wasn't tagged out by Cryon when he got down there below. Now comes the push forwards. They're starting to find their way in. They've got control of the window on the south, and like I mentioned, you don't strictly need control of that east side, but Leon and Cryon coming up for that west window. Rampy's got his back turned here, but Fultz on a big flank as well. Coming in through, sees the one, gets him in the backside as well after coming up, and Rampy with a team kill. It's unfortunate, but it's still 2 kills to the side of SSG. A 4 versus 3 as they make it a 4 versus 2. Bosco striking big, and Rogue going to really have to scramble to keep this round in their favour.
They do, and SSG have to be finding this. These are the rounds that they need to win if they want to win Clubhouse. Bosco, Rampy, final 2 kills. 5-4 SSG, and another step towards that upper bracket finish.
Beautiful stuff, and that feels like the round that they knew they should have won in the prior. They could be sat at 6-3 right now. Instead, it's just 5-4. The next site we head to is going to be back down into the depths of Clubhouse. Church and Arsenal coming up in just a moment. Last time it was that almost clutch coming out from Prano. He had the 3K in the round, but he lost the reverse, and here we have a little tactical pause too. So even with SSG being on the winning side of things at the moment, they are still calling a tactical timeout, and we've seen that a couple of times this event. In fact, I think it might be technical as one member of Rogue has also disconnected at the same time.
This is it. I mean, it's just an opportunity for SSG to try and steady the ship, I think. You know, they are winning rounds, but Rogue are making it difficult for them. They're keeping themselves in touch. Rogue have had, you know, a couple of a successful defense. They're looking to double down and get that to 2, take us all the way to 12 rounds. But SSG, I just feel like they want to get this finish now. They don't want Rogue getting back in touch. So let's just have a chat. Let's see if we can just guarantee ourselves these next couple of rounds. They're going to be attacking potentially onto the same site again. We'll see when we load back in where Rogue finally choose, but SSG, they looked pretty good that last round. They were patient. It's like I said, Rogue have come into Clubhouse and it looks like they've just tried to do a few new things. They know there's not too much on the line anymore, so let's not give too much away. We don't need to show, you know, all our proper strats of Clubhouse so that teams can study them. Let's just do a hot drop and rush into site. Let's just do things a little bit differently. SSG coming in and they just seem to be like knuckling down now, right? Let's just bring the strats. Let's play this, you know, strategically. Let's go in, step 1, 2, 3, work our way through and just get it nailed down.
Get the second seed. That's what they want ultimately, yes. Right, coming out of this. Absolutely. The higher up you go, the arguably easier opponent you have in third place, but we know what this group stage has produced. You know, we all thought coming into it, look, generally in a best of 3, the better team will come out on top. It gives a more stable kind of flow of how teams sit. But outside of 1 or 2, you know, clearing the rest of the pack in first place, I'd argue a lot of these groups have been super back and forth and unpredictable in terms of outcome. I did want to go and do something tomorrow. It's our off day tomorrow, air quotes. You've got content, rehearsals, so on and so forth. But I really want to sit down and look at predictions across all the talent, see who we predicted and who then, as a team, has the highest number of correct predictions, say for example of NIP, you know, we predicted they won 74% of the time, I do wager they'll probably be the lowest. They betrayed so much trust and then went on to win in day 3 when no one picked
I had
them to
a
win.
nightmare predicting their games.
Oh, it was awful for you, Tim.
Absolute nightmare.
I feel terrible.
They were very, very tough to predict this time around.
NIP in your head, rent-free.
Certainly will. We'll have a look and see who the easiest teams to predict and the most difficult teams to predict. I think that's the way to put it.
That's it.
So it's going to be Jim and Bedroom once again. SSG racing over towards that east side with Fultz on the Flores. Going to look to get it open. They got it done very quickly last time around and got the jacuzzi wall done. Their access to site was done and then there was no rushing from them. Nice and steady they went until they picked apart the defence. Rampy straight up onto the roof, likely to open the logistics hatch while passing. And then they can start looking to see just exactly where the differences are in this defence. We've got the Echo this time around.
Echo's an interesting one these days. We had a kind of spell when the drones became visible, no longer invisible whilst on the ceiling. They'd get tucked under like, on maps like Cafe, you took them under like the serving trays, for example, or if you were Empire, up in the rafters that many teams tried to copy and couldn't just quite get right. These days, it's more aggressive use of the yokais. You kind of see defenders using them to support their roamers, to get out of the map, feed information back and forth, rather than sitting static, I think, because for attackers now, it's a lot easier to find them and get rid. Especially when you've got EMPs on side, they'll just fall from the ceiling like a sack of potatoes, I guess. I don't know what a sack of potatoes will be doing on a ceiling, Tim, but they will fall from there pretty heavy, just like the yokai drones will. Crying, being burnt out slowly down to about half HP, 50 left on the clock. And good to get out of dodge, but that's red clear now for the side of SSG.
That's it, not ideal taking all that damage from essentially your own gadgets. SSG working well and putting most pressure on from the opposite side this time, showing that they've got multiple attacks when it comes to Jim and Bedroom. Crying's going to drop himself away and move around underneath. He's just sort of disappeared off into the bowels at the minute. He's over in bathroom, and if SSG don't pick up, that could be a late round flank. He could, on the Jaeger, move pretty quickly to get himself back up those red stairs even potentially, but he can't leave it too late. Needs to be careful, otherwise it'll be reduced to a main stairs push, which is actually where he's now returned. He's thought better of his hiding, better of his flank, and he's just going to get himself locked down in sight. 5 versus 5, 45 seconds left to go, and SSG, they need to get a move on.
They do. It's amazing how fast the clock runs away on this site in particular, because of how much time you can spend clearing out this east side. It's like doing a full cash CC take in most cases, where you'll have reinforcements, you'll have walls to open up, shields to clear through, every manner of thing to get done, essentially. Aces holding here, a grenade coming down, almost catching him out. The man drops in, a C4 comes up, a Rampy, a bit too quick off the mark, making a double. He's having a thunderous game here on Clubhouse. 2 big kills coming in. It's a 5 versus 2 for SSG, and surely match and series point awaits. Leon with 1 before Rampy steps in for a 3K. Can't wait to see what words come out of his mouth in the post round, Tim. Plant going down, Prana going to interrupt it out as we're down to the final 5, but there's another one. Do they know about it? Can they stop it coming in? They see it, but they can't stop it. How has he done it again? Brano just keeps on pulling these rounds out of the bag. SSG dropping the bag in the dying seconds.
Absolutely unreal. SSG unable to take out the second yokai, and that is going to knock the wind out of their sails. They should be on map point right now.
It should have won. It should be 7-3.
It should be. They know that it should be. Rampage just going absolutely wild at the minute, and it's still not enough to take them over the line. We're going to see all 12 regular rounds, and then we might even get a little bit of overtime as well. They're haunting them with the Echo, bringing it along again on the 6th pick.
I love how after all I said, I was like, you don't really see it used this way anymore. Like, I can't think of the last time, maybe early on stage 3, where the 2 yokais were used.
Actually wins around.
Yeah, like it's probably like Kendra on Team Secret, I'd imagine, playing on Bar and Stage Clubhouse. You know, it's appropriate to be there, but I have not seen it on Gym and Bedroom in forever.
Absolutely not. What a round from Rogue.
I just can't believe it's also Prano again doing it.
1v3, I think that was, as a clutch. Unreal.
There's a word here and I can't think of what it is. It's slightly not safe for work. I just can't think of what it is. It's a word to describe someone kind of scrapping a really dirty win over the finish.
Yeah, we'll move on before you remember it.
No, I'll try and remember it.
No, I won't worry about it.
You know, Rips has seen what Prano's done and gone, oh, get me on some highlights. Come on, give me. Now he's the one playing on the Yokais as we step into CC and Cash. Prano going back onto playing on the smoke. We've already seen what he's done on a couple of sites on this map with that smoke in hand. The almost clutch down in basement. The clutch on this site last time when SSG dropped the diffuser. Didn't have time to get it back up and start sticking down the plant. So you'll be slightly trustful that he can do the same thing again, but just in case you haven't, then the Yokais are there on side.
Look at Rampy's stats going absolutely wild.
Scary, isn't it?
6. This is Rampy's world, and we're just
they're still
living in it right now. Absolutely unreal. But Leon quietly going about his business on the other side as well, 11 and 7. We've got a little bit of a battle going on between the two of them for who's going to come out on top, but after that triple in the last round, Rampy certainly gives himself a big advantage in those stakes. Ace is on the roam at the minute, going to take out a drone, but that means they know exactly where he is. SSG not moving quite so quickly to get in and try and take the challenge onto him. He's just going to try and hold down Lounge for as long as possible. I don't know if there's anybody playing. No, Leon's not on the double wall at the minute. I was going to suggest if Leon was on the double wall, it was potentially there to try and just keep him safe and avoid that challenge from underneath, but maybe just trying to protect the batteries themselves.
Ace is with the right idea there. There was someone sat on that storage window just holding the pixel. A couple of inches upwards, he would have found himself a headshot to start the round. Would have been the dream. And here we go now with the wall being opened up. You can see Fultz getting in from below and just looking to move away a bandit. But Leon, he's off in Narnia doing his own thing in the bedroom. Wants a little lie down whilst SSG are doing all the hard yards of getting Breach opened up. With that exposed, they've now got to find a second angle to push from. Whether that's the west window inside the site itself or taking control of Garage is entirely their choice. Last time they EMP Garage and Crying, well, he was dead as a dodo, mate. Going extinct pretty quickly with nades flying his way, the thermite getting underneath and fragging him out, and Rampy, he ain't ready to slow down. Another entry coming in onto Leon.
Just keeps rolling, doesn't he? Just makes sure that the man on the other side who's top fragging is not going to get any closer to him. That's his 15th kill so far, and we can see now work is being done on the reinforcement. That's going to make it difficult to hold on to Catwalk because there's just another angle that Crying needs to worry about here. SSG are now working towards clearing this. They're going to bounce the nade onto him. He has to drop. He's taken out 4v2. SSG, they are cruising at the minute, but Des, there is one man left alive who may yet have something to say about this.
I mean, there's two of them. Prano's clutched all once. Rips again off to where Leon was earlier. Gone to join him in the bedroom, but found that Leon isn't there. But he's got the Yokais on side. The final 30 seconds does mean there's still quite a bit of time to chew through. Prano can burn through about 20 seconds of that with the smoke canisters coming out and chew through several members of SSG before Rampy takes matters into his own hands. Surely not. Surely
not again.
Oh, he's tried to jump. He's missed it. He can't jump. He can't get the stick. It won't stick to the ceiling. The plant goes off. It was nearly another big fluff up at the very end there, but they've managed to stick it hot and cold outside the building. And Ritz, who's 3 and 10, has got to kill 3, make it 4, all by himself.
Fultz is going to recover hot and cold. Skies is going to take down Rips, and that is going to be round number 11 for SSG. They get themselves a little bit of a cushion of safety here. They guarantee themselves overtime as a minimum, but they don't want to go there. If they can win this next round, they will close it out and they will take this in 2 rounds. We're going to have a tactical pause coming in from Rogue before they go into this crucial round and try to keep themselves clinging on.
7-5 or overtime. That's the only answer we get out of this next round. By the looks of it, it's going to be downstairs in Church and Arsenal. Meepy just taking a seconds to rally the troops. No doubt been in many a situation like this back in his history with Team Secret. So between them all, you know they've got enough brains between them to get this one together. But sadly, no one really seems able to stop Rampy right now. Tim, he's on a rampage, especially in the second half. 2Ks, 3Ks are just like breathing to him.
Finished on 17 at the end of that.
Crazy.
Could be on for a 20-kill game here if he has a good final round, or especially if we go into overtime. That much is for sure. Going very, very well so far. And to be honest, that's not something that bodes well for the other teams in this competition. Rampy is a difference maker. There's no two ways about that. And if he starts finding his feet like this towards the playoff stages, be in serious trouble.
Big stage energy for some players, and Rampy is one of those. We saw what he did 2 years ago. As we reference it all the time, but literally round 1 of SI 2020, Clubhouse against Na'Vi, Rampy dropped an ace and never really slowed down from there. I believe he was tournament MVP come the end of it as well.
Yes, yeah, he had a unbelievable tournament, as did SSG, to be fair, going on to lift the hammer there in 2020.
How times have changed. We're all in the LATAM age right now, but
I'll tell you what.
The thing is, like, a few people have now said every region is competitive at the moment.
Yes, I was like, say, I'm not saying LATAM aren't strong anymore. They are, of course. Liquid are crazy at the minute, but I really feel like a few new challengers have entered the arena.
It pains me to say this as an EUL caster, but I actually feel like EU is the least competitive region here at the minute. I think if you're looking at Empire, have been a little bit on and off. M&M still got a point to prove, 2 really disappointing defeats, especially when playing early in the morning. The clock is their worst enemy. Yeah, BDS, unfortunately, having the outcome they've had, they were the kind of shining hope for the region. So it's hard to really see where we're going to have that big competition coming in.
What I would say is when we look at who's maybe the least or, lesser competitive compared to the sort of more competitive regions, I would say that this, for me, is probably the closest field we've ever seen.
Yes, I agree.
The difference between, if we say, right, EU have struggled a little bit, which I can get on board with, the difference between that and the top performers is probably closer than it's ever been. This is, for my money, the most competitive field we've had at an SI, and we're going to really see that next week.
Maybe I'm just a really cynical person is one way of looking at it. Here we go then, looking to step now inside a stock. I thought for a second we were going to see Fault Skies and Rampy just burst into sight there and land on top of Cryan's head and get things underway pretty quickly. But no, they've dialed out for a second, droning work back underway once again as they decide what will be the go-to angle. Last time they got the church wall opened up, they dropped in through Moto. That was their game plan. Will Rogue let them get away with it again, or will there be some differences to be made for both sides here, with SSG potentially catching them unawares?
This is over in Strip on the Oryx. He's one to watch out for here because he could be a real thorn in the side. Leon is playing inside of Logistics again. I didn't call it at the time, actually, but I do recall it. I just love how Skies and Rampy dealt with Logistics a couple of rounds ago. If you remember, the nade came in from Skies, and whilst Aces dipped away from it, Rampy was already dropping and he'd gone in and got the kill. It was absolutely beautiful. This time it's going to be a one-on-one fight potentially. I think we've got Rampy just up there on the book at the minute. He's got Leon underneath him. He's going to have an idea of the Vigil's location. The scanner is just recharging as it's just run out, so he's going to have been giving off those bars to show that he was in the area, just dipping away for the time being, moving himself back into Master. This is the thing about Vigil. You don't want to get your location pinned down. It's all about popping up from the unexpected areas.
Oh boy.
The crouch walk's coming.
They don't know.
The crouch walk's coming.
They have no idea that they've come down dirt at this point. Surely you'd have heard it open up, but I'm not too convinced they have. They've got the Yellow Pingers coming in. They know what they want to do. As soon as this EMP goes in, it's going to give the signs that things need to move. Now, no silencer on that, so they might even just know that what's going on inside of here. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was silenced out, but they know both of those goo mines are gone. So the calls should surely come through. Ace is the first one to start getting tagged up, but not going down just yet. SSG are down to just 2 drones, and we've got about 40 seconds to play, and Rampy is off the board.
That's a big kill for Rogue. Hot and Cold manages to find Rips inside a site, and that's going to be Rogue fully aware that they are coming in from Dirt Tunnel, but Skies is getting the diffuser down.
Hot and Cold!
Snuck in round the back. Hot and Cold gets 2, and Rogue are falling apart. It's over before it begun. SSG able to close out Clubhouse, able to close out the round the map, and able to claim that upper bracket spot.
Absolutely love to see it. 2 7-5s across both maps. It came close. Rogue put on a good show, but SSG ending the group strong and securing that second place spot.
What a performance out of Rampy. 17-7 to finish off. Really did drag his team towards the finish line, but honestly, very impressed with both teams in that matchup. I think they both had the moments. 2 close games. Rogue definitely need a shout there. You were looking good. It maybe wasn't to play for. They knew, they had a good idea that they were going through anyway, but they really showed up, had some great moments. Prano, definitely impressing once again.
He's impressing me more and more, to be fair. Don't ever tell him this, because he will never let me live it down, but he is impressing me more and more. I see him as well. Really fitting into that IGL role. Sometimes I kind of think, well, be more of a support, get on the drone, slow things down, but you can't deny the fragging potential he's got and the results that it is netting Rogue in some of these rounds. But for SSG, it's a good end to the group stage for the NA region and for SSG, Rampy especially. We'll go to a quick break, and when we come back, the command center will break this one down for you a little bit more.